Happy Friday. Hope you're all doing absolutely excellent. We're here for a nice 4 p.m. stream this time. We're usually live at 3:30, but I needed an extra half hour just for your boy could go on a little walk, take the dog out, get some exercise going. But hope everyone's doing A-OK today and have some fun weekend plans ahead. Today, we're talking Starfield. We're talking Xbox Copilot. We're talking about what's going on with AAA, which has not been crazy it's not been crazy good lately. And then we might talk a little bit about Cyberpunk. We'll see how much time we have. And honestly, there's not too much to say about it, but I wanted to talk about it anyway. But what's going on to the early birds, Turtle Deity, biggest Tame Impala fan in chat, it would appear. Hope you're doing well. Nurse Mayo, good to see you. Vanilla, good to see you again as well. Appreciate everyone here. Nice and early. Brown Eyes, hello. It's a crazy name. Personal Melon, hello. Yeah, Vanilla. Cyberpunk, the news is no news. That's why I'm like, we might talk about it for a few minutes. Cyberpunk 2077, they confirmed no more DLC for it. So I wanted to dive into that a little bit, what that means compared to what's going on with little Witcher 3 soon. But what's going on, everybody? Synchro, hello. Thank you for shouting out the dog, Rufus. Rufus just went on a nice big walk, so he's out of energy because he's just go, 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 go. And so now we finally got him all taken care of. So thank you for shouting him out. Devo, good to see you. Jaco, good to see you. Francisco, welcome back, my friend. Happy to see you. Rami, hello, hello, hello. All right. Got a nice crowd early on here. Hope you're all doing excellent. Let me know some of your weekend plans. For me, I think I'm going to see Hopper tomorrow. It's a Pixar film. Got to get in on that. And then otherwise, Locke and I are working on some story stuff for the game, so that'll be fun. And then I'm annoyed because the weather was so nice. It was 70s, 60s. I was walking my dog and it was freezing out, man. I had to wear the hoodie. I had to put on a winter beanie. I had to put on a jacket. I was like, man, got teased with that great weather. So I want to go out and touch some grass, but we'll see. I don't know. The winter drags me indoors. So my weekend's looking a little light because next week is going to be really busy. No doubt about it. We got Crimson Desert coming up and a bunch of other stuff that we'll be working on and talking about next week that I'm excited about. So we'll dive into all of that as well. Oh, we got some people learning Unreal in chat, looking at a house. Wyman's best of luck. A person on our game development team is looking for a home right now, and it's just house hunting is a bitch, dude. It is a bitch. It's a very exciting process, but it's also oh my god. For my wife and I, when we were looking for our place and we landed on this place, it was we felt so lucky because there were a couple of places we did put offers in on. And we were like, man, we really feel like this is the one, but this one was definitely the one, and we're very lucky that we got it. So it just kind of worked out. So anytime a house doesn't work out, treat it as part of the plan. So that'll be fun. Gonna use your new super ultra wide. That's fun. Yeah, I'm getting in on the monitor game, man. Like I said, I got this 27-inch 4K OLED monitor, 240 hertz, just beautiful. Just Platinum Requiem on this last night. It's a beautiful thing. Crimson Desert won't touch with helping grass next weekend. Yeah, what also won't help is my wife's going to be away for a few days, so it's I got nothing to pull me away. Oh, man, we're already getting harassed here. For goodness sakes, play Control and Alan Wake 2. You'll be happy to know I'm looking at a PS5 Pro because I'm seeing all the updates it's getting. PSSR 2.0 seems pretty legit. But also I saw that Remedy is updating a bunch of their games, including, I believe it was Control, but definitely Alan Wake 2. And so I'm finally going to join in on the Remedy-verse. I don't know if I'll get to it this year because I got a lot of old GTA, for example, to catch up on. There's a couple of other things in my backlog. Castlevania is another we talked about. So it's kind of marked for the year. But I know that, I don't know. We've heard rumors that Max Payne remake, I think, is it coming out this year? I thought we heard rumors about that. But that's a Remedy game I have played. Love Max Payne, so I might dive into that first. But anyway, I will get to this. I promise. I appreciate your persistence. Thank you for. Oh, I had phlegm in my throat, so I sound like a frog. Thank you, Frenchie. Yeah, no, the grind hasn't. I don't know. it's been both a grind and not really a grind. Like when you have like a team that surrounds you, that like I have 3 editors slash producers, like it does make it a lot easier. Like I appreciate the credit, but they do make it where I really just have to think about like scripting and getting stuff like recorded more so than the editing process. Like I just got a video out to a sponsor today, and that was because Dan like just dove on it right away. I sent him the files last night. He dove on it this morning, and I sent that out. So our video for the weekend is like, once it's approved, is ready to go. And like, you know, that kind of lets me just focus on this for today and then coast into my weekend. So it's all because of the team. SDO, I'm absolutely very excited for Wolverine. And Josh, good to see you, my friend. Happy you're here, dude. I'm not sleeping on Remedy, Arcane. I know Remedy is great. It's just like it's not been a high priority to me. Like I know they're great games. I've played Remedy games. I've played Alan Wake 1. I've played the Max Payne stuff. Like I know Remedy is on some goated shit. Like I know. I played Quantum Break as well. Let's add that to the list. Like I know Remedy kicks a ton of ass, right? Like I know. It's just a matter of their recent games I have fallen behind on. It really started with Control. That was the one I skipped out on. And boy, did that not play out well, because now they're like merging these universes together, getting Control Resonant this year. So we'll get to it. Don't worry. Trust your boy. I'm good for it. You can check Retro Rebound. I'm good for getting on these types of things. And honestly, for you Remedy bros out there, I don't see enough people putting respect on Quantum Break. Had some really good ideas. Not their best game for sure, but I found it very memorable because of just how ridiculous it was. And what's Littlefinger's actor name? Hold on. Littlefinger actor. Peter Baelish. Man. Oh, wait, no. Wait. Aidan Gillen. I just read his... It literally had the name. It just said Peter Baelish, and I'm like, isn't that the character from... Aidan Gillen. I remember pissing my friend off because he also played Quantum Break, and the most common line that Aiden had in Quantum Break was he would see the main character Jack Joyce, and he'd always just call him by name. He'd be like, Jack Joyce. And I'd always walk around just saying that for like a year straight. I pissed my friend off so much. Known actor Peter Baelish. Yes. What is your favorite lightsaber hilt? I think Dooku. Let me check Dooku's out. Let me make sure if I'm thinking of the right one. Dooku lightsaber. That's the one with the curve, right? Yeah. To me, that's just, I don't know. It's like very strange, but I just like Count Dooku's lightsaber a lot. The way it handles and everything. Kind of holds it like a rapier. I really like Count Dooku's. That's one of my favorites for sure. Do you think we'll see Fallout 3 remake this year or maybe next year? I'm going with next year. That's kind of what I talked about in our video on the Fallout 3 remaster. Like I do want to see it this year, but I think given the success of Oblivion remaster, like that's the cudgel Todd Howard's going to wield and be like, Shadow Drop. Like, see, it works. Top 10 selling game of 2025 when it Shadow Dropped. And now it's going to be Fallout, which has way more going on for it. Shadow Drop. So I don't think they're going to pre-announce this one because they've had so many opportunities and so many leaks. It's like the worst kept secret. So I think they're just going to hold it until whatever the original plan was. What are your 5 most anticipated games for 2026? Thank you guys for the super chats. They help a lot, and I appreciate it. Great questions, too, here. Let's see. One of them was Requiem, but I'll do with what... And Pocopia was another one. Let's go with what I know is coming out ahead of us. Pragmata, Lego Batman. Those two definitely come top of mind. Fable is 3. Those are definitely top 3 that come to mind as well. Replaced looks really good. I'd probably put that on the list. I'm very curious about that one. This isn't a top anticipated game, but we're about to get some awesome remaster collections in a couple of weeks. We're getting Star Force Collection, which, I mean, you know me, I love Battle Network, and that's like the that's the sequel series to Battle Network. And then we just learned we're getting Marvel Maximum Collection that same day. So that's going to be cool. Witcher 3 DLC is another one. I've been reading all the books in anticipation for that. I saw someone in chat mention it, like GTA 6, of course. That's another one. GTA 6 would be one. It's also like I'm kind of excited for it to be over already. That's my kind of annoying take on GTA 6. Like I'm just eager for it to get out of the way so we can stop like anticipating it, watching the dances be done around it. Like just industry must regulate. Let's get back to normal. I see a lot of people talking about MGS4 in chat. Technically, yeah, because I've never played MGS4 in full. I played like half of it on my PS3, but now that they're doing the collection, I'll probably actually play that and finish that on my PS3 and then review the collection separately. So yeah, that'll be fun. Need that Max Payne remake in my body is ready. I agree, dude. I've got Max Payne 1 and 2 ready to go. I was watching some retrospectives on Max Payne a couple of weeks ago and just reminiscing on like how impactful the demos for those games were on my original Xbox and like playing them as a kid for whatever reason, but like how thematically synchronized the gameplay and the story were in a lot of areas, not in all areas, but a lot of areas. You know, like the painkillers and whatnot. And like this dude's just running around drugged up, shooting people, and the noir cop style writing. The fact that like the comic strips were drawn over by like actual people, but they were drawn over like, you know, they have Sam Lake as Max Payne. They used him as like the actor, literally. That sort of stuff has aged well. I think is really cool. Do you think they do Fallout 3 and Elder Scrolls 6 in the same year? Yeah. Yeah, I think Microsoft is in the business of making money. So, like, I think that it's not like you get one or the other. Like, if Microsoft can look at the front half of the year and go, like, okay, we've got a Fallout 3 remaster, and the second half of the year and probably the holiday period, we've got Elder Scrolls 6. I don't think one robs the other, especially because knowing Elder Scrolls 6, they're going to wait until, like, the summer to start really, whatever the summer that is, they'll start talking more information. That'd be my guess, because it's been so long now, and they've said it's going to be a while yet, so I imagine it's one of those things where they're just going to take maximum time, and then once they reveal it's going to be like a heavily leaked thing in anticipation of an event, and we'll know it's there. But I don't think like you get one per year. But the question is, like, do we see Elder Scrolls 6 next year? Because we're starting to get like next-gen info for Xbox, and, you know, I feel like Elder Scrolls 6 is a next-gen style game. At least that's what Bethesda's described it as. So I'll be keen to see what they kind of do with that. But if you're worried about you get one or the other, I don't think that's the case. Had the theme for Mercenaries 2 on OG Xbox come up in my music. Have you ever played it? Good question, dude. And appreciate seeing you back here, Chris. Thanks for the super chat. I played a little bit of Mercenaries. For as much of a big fanboy as I am when it comes to Pandemic Studio, this is like one of my rare blind spots. It's a great game from what I played, but it's definitely like my least played Pandemic game. Like, I've played a lot of Battlefront. I played a lot of Lord of the Rings Conquest. By the way, did you all see that there was a rumor that Aspyr might be remastering War of the North? And I'm really curious if this means we're going to go back to like the Lord of the Rings movie games, or of course for me, again, what I was just talking about, Lord of the Rings Conquest. But yeah, unfortunately, Mercenary is one that's just like, I didn't play as much of it, but you know, what I did play was a great game. Very chaotic, very fun. Harambe Kojima, 5 gift memberships. Great name. Hilarious name. Appreciate you a lot, dude. Thanks guys for supporting these streams. Look at that, Ice Cap Lord. Oh, man, like, they give it to all, like, the OGs. All the recognizable names. Anyway, thanks, guys, for just all the support. This is awesome. Third Age Remake. Yeah, that's another one. Remaster Third Age would be sick. Star Wars Galactic Racers are my most anticipated games of this year. Star Wars Pod Racer and Mario are my childhood. That's another good call-out. It's going to be an interesting year for Star Wars games. Zero Company, if it looks as good as the brief snippet of gameplay that we saw when we talked about like the KOTOR remake news and what I think, I think we're going to see that a lot this year with Zero Company. Oh man, dude, like if that game delivers like truly XCOM but Star Wars, that's a dangerous game, dude. I hope it's so good. It sounds incredible in my head, dude. So Galactic Racers is another great looking Star Wars game, though. I'm going to be all over that as well. Thanks for the streams and the slop. Hey, my pleasure, dude. Thanks for being here, Nerfed. You're always here supporting. Doomwalker, good to see you, man. Welcome back. Ice Cap Lord again. What's going on, bro? All right. My top anticipated game of the year was Bloodstained 2, and then Castlevania got announced. Marvel Tokon will probably claim my soul in August. See what I'm talking about? This has been a great year for games. Like, we're at that point now where I'm forgetting stuff I'm hyped for. The reason I'm hyped for Tokon is because it's like the successor, at least in gameplay, style, and presentation, it looks like, to Dragon Ball FighterZ, which is my most played fighting game, easily. Like, I've put well over... Well, I shouldn't say most played ever, because I've put a lot of time into Tekken. It's up there. It's got to be top 5. And especially as a kid, the amount of fighting games I played, like the arcadey ones, like Mortal Kombat, Armageddon. Yeah. But that aside, Marvel Tokon's like right in my wheelhouse. That's one I'm going to play a lot. Good shout out there. I'm excited. I'm glad you guys are sharing your top anticipated games. There's so much good stuff coming out this year. I would like salutations, and salutations you shall get, my friend. Welcome. Thanks for being here. Thanks for supporting the streams. And then you also had another super chat. Dooku's Hilt has... I'm going to pretend I can... I'm not going to look that up. I feel like that's got something to do with a dick. I'm not going to do that. Nope. Not getting trolled. I'm naive, but I'm not that naive. I that shape, and I know where this is going. Just that's where my head's at right now. I'm not looking it up. All right. Francisco. Good to see you, my friend. Matty, don't hate. Never played KOTOR, PC or Switch. Go with the Switch version. Yep, chat's got my back. Everyone's like, it does. Yep, but see, I'm wise. You're not going to clip me with that one. Y'all going to clip one day, but you're not going to clip me with some dick disease, all right? We're not doing that. I'm not putting myself through that, all right? Accidents happen, but I'm not putting myself through that deliberately. It's so funny. I read that, and I felt the dick in it. Like, I could tell there was dick involved in that, dude. Good try, though. That was good. That was, you were close. That was good. But yeah, dude, Francisco, go with the Switch version. The Switch version looks really good. The PC version is fine, but unless you mod it, which I'm sure you don't want to go through that extra step if you don't have to, because, Aspire may have messed up the KOTOR 2 on Switch, both because of them, but also because of Lucasfilm. But anyway, go with the Switch version. You'll be groovy. RE9 made me really want Dead Space 4. That's what I'm saying, dude. And they had the team to do it. They were fucking killing it. Nah, don't pause me, chat. I didn't say I felt the dick in me, bro. I said I felt the dick in it. In the sentence, I knew that was dick related. Don't pause me. Come on now. I felt the tingling. Bearded husband, I'm with you, though, bro. Blob Fish, that's a lot of words, bro. Random, but Injustice 3 anytime soon? You'd think so. I mean, that was on the NVIDIA Bible leak, like that was in there in that library. So you got to imagine like it's on the pathway. Let's keep the chat clean, people. Look. Yeah, okay, perfect. Josh put it perfectly. Maybe I shouldn't say I felt the dick in it. I felt my spidey senses were tingling. I did indeed feel a tingle. It was my spidey senses telling me, like, Matt, if you search that up, your Google history is going to be fucked up for a while. So don't do that. Anyway, Injustice 3. All right. Let's I know I said it, but let's just keep on track here. Injustice 3, I think will be arriving soon. Now, I got to say, I'm not really I don't want to say that. I'm a big NetherRealm fan, but their fighting games are the Call of Duty of fighting games. Very casual, very accessible, very blockbuster, AAA. Love that they focus on their story modes. I don't say Call of Duty disrespectfully, but I feel like they've been losing their luster. I think about when I used to buy a NetherRealm fighter. It hung around for a while. And part of it was just growing up and realizing I don't think I like their fighting games as much as I used to. I like the ideas in them. I mean, I did play a lot of Mortal Kombat 9, 10, and 11. Mortal Kombat 1 I thought was super underwhelming. That was a really disappointing game. Injustice 1 was amazing. I loved Injustice 1. Injustice 2, ass. I mean, I feel like they're just so hit or miss with me. What's up, Maddie? Who's your go-to guy or your go-to for gaming retrospectives? I gotta say for me, it's Noah Caldwell and Andrew Bluette. Great videos. You should check them out. Well, thank you for the suggestion. I like G-Man Lives. He does current reviews as well, but he also does a lot of retrospective stuff, and I always found that to be a really good place for content. Jay's reviews is probably my favorite, though. I really just like his delivery, and he focuses on my very particular interest. Like he does Mega Man, he does Sonic, and he does these deep dives on them. And I find that to be really unique. He's done it, and he also does it in a really interesting way where like he commits to the bit. And by that, I don't mean like him as a character, but he commits to his content in a way that I really respect, which is like, I've struggled with this, where he's like, I'm doing, like when he does Sly 1, for example, he's a huge Sly Cooper fan, which I love too. But when he does Sly 1, you know he's going to do Sly 2 and then Sly 3 and then Sly 4. Like he will do all this. He thinks about it in franchises. And so he does amazing retrospectives, in my opinion, because he doesn't just recap the plot. There's so many video essays. There's so many analysis videos or critique videos or review videos that claim to be something they're not. They just read a plot synopsis and very, very rarely interject their thoughts. I like Jay's reviews because he literally just gives genuine thoughts and like he doesn't just hold back. You know, it's good stuff. Yeah, I'll throw Retro Rebound in there as well, Ashar. Why not? 1348 X Vado's character looks a little weird, but other than that, it looks terrible. Yeah, I'm not playing the game. I don't think it looks particularly interesting to me, so I understand this type of feedback here. I know that game's been getting flamed a lot online too, but I know that's not everything to do with the game itself. Thoughts on the Outer Worlds ending without spoilers? The first one or the second one? I'm assuming you mean the second one. I would just say that I felt the second half of the game was a little weak and the ending could have been a lot more interesting. But overall, I really liked it, and I'm keen to see what the DLC does, which I think is going to be what Outer Worlds 1 did and kind of fill in the side areas rather than like add to the main plot. And my hope is that these pieces of DLC content will like be in the back half of the game because that part of the game is weak. And if they can do more stuff like they did in the front half, more focused stuff, that'll be good. It was D-related, but it actually made sense. Dude, look. You almost got me. I know it made sense to you, but you know what you were doing. You said, because the thing is, dude, you didn't say it just looked like that disease. You said, look it up. That's the difference. You said, look it up. Soul Calibur is the king of single-player fighters. I do like me some Soul Calibur. I didn't play much of 6, though. 6 and 5, I played very little. 4 and 2, I played a shit ton of. And as a huge Star Wars fan, I'm sure you can guess why I played Soul Calibur 4 a lot, bro. I mean, where is it? Tell me this is not one of the coolest fucking things you've ever seen. At least for me, it is. Hang on. Actually, I think I got like a sick version of this to show off. I do. I got like the fat tin version here, dude. Hold on. The tin doesn't have the... Oh, man. This thing doesn't slide out easy either. Come on. You gotta... Get out. Why won't it get out? There we go. All this just to show you guys some box art. You already know what it is, though. This is sick, by the way. You may have seen this in a Retro Rebound haul video. Poster. The poster will tell all. The poster will tell all. Oh, wait. Upside down. Look at that. Vader on the top. Yoda on the other side. Come on, man. Come on, man. This is, yes, 1,000% this shit makes a difference. Because Soul Calibur is this anime-ass fighting game. And then here comes Yoda and Darth Vader. Oh, man. Awesome. And then those were on each version of the game. So, like, I had the 360 version was Yoda, which was cool. So sick, dude. So sick. I got to hang this up on my wall or, like, frame it or something. It's one of my favorite arts for a game. Oh, man, they even have... Dude, like, this is cool as fuck. It says here, you can't really read it. It says some battles are fought with the soul on this. Like, that's awesome. And it comes with a DC comic book as well. I didn't know this. I'm on out. Pain in the ass. Look at this. Collectible comic book. How awesome is that? Sick, dude. Like, yeah. Shout out Soul Calibur. It's great stuff. And this is why you collect complete in box. Those memories are strong, dude. Is this a DLC code it came with? Yeah, premium edition DLC code. Yeah, man. Soul Calibur is great. I know Harada talked a bit about Soul Calibur lately and why we haven't seen one in a while. So I think it'll be a while yet before we see another Soul Calibur game. I think what did Soul Calibur 5 do? I think 5 did Ezio. I think that's what it was. They got to synchronize with the time periods better. Like they did Ezio when no one was really talking about Ezio, from my knowledge or my memory. I'm just going off of feels here. And then they did Geralt when like Witcher was kind of over with. Like they got to do, like the reason the Star Wars one worked so well is there was a ton of Star Wars shit coming out at that time. Games, movies, that sort of stuff. I played hundreds of hours of Injustice 2 and MK11 just to grind for cosmetics, so MK1 not having any substantial single-player content made me drop it. Yeah, like, that's true. You know, Injustice 2 did have, like, the thing that I miss is that sense of finite content. Like, I love that the Mortal Kombat 9 had the challenge tower, and I like that. I thought the kind of crypt that they've been doing lately has been kind of whack, because it's always tied to some sort of monetization system or some type of insane grind that I just don't play their games for. But again, it resonates with a lot of people. They sell really well. Dave, welcome back. Says, what's up, man? Hope you're doing good. Fallout 3 is coming Monday, my friend. Really stoked to get started. You guys got me hyped for it. And Dave, you saw the rumors, bro. If you're checking out the channel, we just talked about the Fallout 3 remaster. Something's in the air right now. Good time to be playing. Thoughts on doing a retrospective on the GTA 5 story? I've considered it. You know, I want to play the older ones first. Like, that's higher priority for me for Retro Rebound. Like, I want to do Vice City. The ones I at least want to do, Vice City, because I've never played that before. I know. San Andreas, which I did play a lot of, and I just think it's a good opportunity to talk about how much I loved that game growing up. 4, I never finished. So those are the top 3 priorities. 3 could kind of be thrown in there because I feel like to get Vice City and kind of its evolution, you got to play 3. So I'm thinking about that. And then 5 is the one I have played a lot of. And there is so much to it. And I don't know if even 6 spells the end of 5 in some way, just because of GTA Online. We'll see like what they launch 6 with. But yeah, I've considered 5 as a retrospective. We'll see. Because I also don't want to be like, I went all in on Resident Evil stuff. And like that was more palatable, I think, because those games are quick. But I want to be a little more picky if I'm going to go through a bunch of open world games and not kind of burn myself out. What will be your one forever game excluding KOTOR? Either Sly 2, Band of Thieves, or Fallout 3, New Vegas? I don't know. This is the first time in my life I've started to waver a bit. New Vegas is more replayable. New Vegas. Yeah, I got to be that guy. Yeah. Easy pickings. Thank you for your super chats. How in touch are you with Half-Life Alyx stuff or Half-Life X stuff? If Valve really wants to launch it with the Steam machine, they'd just be proud of it. It's been in development for 5+ years now. I don't think they're holding it back because there's like any issues with the game. I think they know that this Steam machine marks the moment for the game, and Valve makes enough money where they can just like sit on this game. They don't need to release it. That's kind of the interesting part about Valve taking their time. They don't need to release this. They kind of choose to. So, yeah, I look at that sort of stuff, and I think, like, if they need to delay the game because of the Steam machine, then the game gets better for it, I guess. And certainly that community's waited long enough, so why force it out, right? Like, they have to do it at the right moment, because, again, the question is why force it out? Let's see here. You're a Sasuke, Shadow, Vincent Valentine fan. Would it be safe to say that you're respectfully an edgelord? Surprised you picked Trunks over Vegeta. Yeah, I think I got a little soft spot for the edgelords for sure. Sasuke was always my OG bad boy right next to Vegeta, but Sasuke's the one who really stuck with me over my lifetime. Vegeta has too, but yeah, Trunks kind of takes... It's funny because, yeah, Trunks is more of a hero, so it is an interesting deviation, but I think just Trunks' whole design... Any design of him, like with the jacket on, with the Saiyan armor on, with the sword, in Super with the blue hair, just always works for me. So I don't know. I mean, Vegeta's awesome. Vegeta's like my favorite character, though, from a story angle, because he actually hasn't reached his peak yet. So he's interesting to watch. But I am definitely an edgelord fan, for sure. Vincent Valentine's not my favorite in 7, though. I will say that. I do like Vincent Valentine, but you're totally on the money with, like, Shadow and Sasuke. Like, I totally like them because of just, you know, that sort of edginess to them. And, yeah, that's true. Ashar mentioned that Trunks' debut was insane. Yeah, like, there's just an impact to his appearance. Like, he shows up and takes the last main villain and fucking mixes them just like that. And he's like, yeah, so we got other problems now. And I love how that's a good way to introduce a character. Someone mentioned Auron from Final Fantasy X. That's a good edgelord. There are a lot of great edgelords, dude. But I definitely like douchebag characters. Like, that is totally my thing. I like shitty characters. Like, I like a James Sunderland who's like literally a piece of shit. Just because I find them to be more interesting. We get tons of hero characters. I like Byakuya Togami and Danganronpa. Like, he's just a straight up dick. But he's interesting. You know, I like characters you conflict with. I don't think a lot of gamers do, though. It's usually like you got to love them. Interested to hear thoughts on music and old GTAs. Yeah, that'll be fun too, right? Like the time period being captured there. I'm going to love that. It's going to be, my Spotify playlist is going to be popping. It's going to be a good time. Man, thanks guys for supporting these streams, dude. This is sick. We'll get started with our first story in a little bit here. I'm still waiting for the chat to populate a little bit more, but also, like I said, I kind of like this sort of groove we've been in now where we just hang and chat for a little bit before we dive in. A lot of I'd rather have, like, I put it this way. I want as many people as possible to show up, but I'd rather have people who want to show up and hang out for a good amount of time rather than what we had early on was a lot of people came in. They're like, come on, start the story. Come on. And I get that. There's some things I'm trying to like work on the back end. Like, a lot of people are asking for timestamps on the streams, and it's one of those things where I can try to look into doing that. Again, I'm trying to make these as like production light as possible, but I also understand why people want them, and it's definitely the most popular comment I've been seeing. So I'm trying to like adjust to those things. But one of the things I don't know if I want to bend to is like part of the idea of like the stream is like I want to reward the people who come here and not like rush them in and out the door. Like, I just enjoy hanging out. Like, I think it's better than the new stuff, you know, because if you want to watch the new stuff, you know, it's going to be on Matty Slop. So I think hanging and talking is like really important. Revian Eclipse. I just got the platinum last night. Got it last night. I had 2 trophies left in my playthrough, and so I snagged them both. One was finishing insanity mode. The other was, we'll just say, cutting something clean off via a parry, because I don't want to spoil the enemy type in case people don't know. But did those 2, and that was it. I used infinite ammo on my insanity playthrough because that was fun as hell. I threw on infinite ammo, ran around with the Requiem. It was still like an accuracy challenge. It was still like difficult in a sense that if you got caught, they were going to make you pay. But man, dude, what a fun ass game. I was thinking about doing like on Matty Slop. Maybe it'll come out this weekend because, I mean, the first story we're doing, we're going to try to get out today. But I was thinking about just putting out like thoughts after 100% on Matty Slop and just kind of going over some spoiler stuff and how I feel and where I'd kind of put it, like is in my top 5 or not. I thought it'd just be kind of a fun game to revisit because I don't platinum games all the time because you have to be like, at least for me, really good for me to want to platinum you. I used to platinum everything, but I think that really died within me with Amazing Spider-Man 2 because that game crushed my soul. That is a really bad video game. Thank you, Camel. I appreciate you. I got to see you in a Trunks cosplay. The closest I ever got to that, it was right before I hurt my lower back. I was working out a ton and I cut my hair in a Levi Ackerman style way, but it definitely looked like younger Trunks too. And there was this website that sold Super Saiyan gear, and it was like very skin tight, dry fit stuff. And I still have it. And frankly, I love that stuff. Like, I was super motivated to go into the gym with that stuff on, but my friends would like cook me up for it all the time. I'm like, you guys just don't have the confidence I do. And I get it. It just like hurts your soul. That's the closest I ever got though. I'd wear like a tight Saiyan dry fit top, have the Trunks cut. Close enough. I was like Team Mu Trunks. Deos, good to see you. Can Marathon make it long term? I don't think it's up to anybody right now except Sony. I think when you look at what Marathon's doing, I think it's doing fine. The problem is Sony knows what a meteoric success is, like Helldivers 2. They know what it's like to meddle with that in Helldivers 2 and almost kill it. They know what it's like to go multi-plat with that and succeed on a big level in Helldivers 2. And they've had high-profile failures as well, like Concord. Of course, the most famous example. We just watched what happened with Highguard, which I believe just went offline yesterday. Someone let me know. But Marathon is an interesting story because they bought Bungie for their live service repertoire. Destiny went downhill. Bungie laid off a ton of their core talent. It was a fucking disaster. And then we know Destiny 3 is not on the horizon. Marathon had to succeed. Got into that whole entire art scandal with Anti-Real. Got themselves out of that. And has built themselves a humble little player base, but compared to something like Arc Raiders, it's definitely just not, it's not top of the market right now. And I think the problem with the Marathon conversation is two things can be true at once. I played it, it wasn't for me. That's fine. I don't think it's a terrible game. I think if you're hard pressed to find me calling it a bad game. It's just a very familiar game, but the aesthetics appeal to me. But it's there. It's something. And I can see why people want to hang around and play it and why people like it. So it can be a good game while also looking at the player count and thinking to yourself, this doesn't look strong. It looks like there's something there, but long term, how is this going to kind of iron out? And so, again, it's up to Sony, which I know is the obvious part of the answer here, but I really mean that because I don't think they're in this for small level success. If what they did with Bluepoint was anything to go by, they failed on a live service game. They spent a year pitching and they're like, all right, you're done. So I'm sure Sony will give Bungie the grace of figuring out their next project, but I don't think if they get that off the ground quickly, I don't know what it means for them. This definitely feels like back against the wall. It feels like where BioWare was with Veilguard. Like, you can feel the press and the influencers and the content creators all kind of curving their opinions in certain directions, whether it be for or against them because they smell the blood in the water. With Veilguard, I saw a lot of people definitely curving their review scores. And I don't say that lightly because I'm just like, dude, you can't walk away with a perfect score for that game. You just can't. Especially for an RPG, because writing quality matters a lot more. You could argue like, oh, well, I still enjoyed the gameplay though, but writing quality wise, that matters a lot in RPG, and it's suspect. And so when we saw rumors, and I don't know if they were proven or not. Again, I'm talking about hearsay, and admittedly, what I scrolled by on social media with Marathon, I heard there were like rumors that they like asked to hold reviews or something until a certain mode was out, or it wouldn't represent the product. And it's like, then why ship it? So to your point, yeah, it's really up to. Someone said in chat here, I won't name the name, but like Marathon will be Concord 3.0. Like, no, it's not. It's not. It's got way more fucking players. It charged money for it. People bought it. It's not being poorly received. Like, people are so fucking obsessed with Concord. I would even go to the length of saying that Highguard wasn't Concord 2.0. You know, it was close, but it lasted longer. Barely, but it lasted longer. And that was free to play. But like, we're talking about a game that people bought, played, it's reviewed decently. Player reviews on Steam are solid. Like, it's in a good spot. I wouldn't call this Concord. It's not a failure. I would just say we're not certain if it's a Sony success, but I don't think it's a failure in the optics of the public for the most part. The streams are for the homies. There you go. Dave Wonder. Want to see if you've played Advent Rising or PsyOps The Mindgate Conspiracy. Both OG Xbox. Advent is a little janky, but PsyOps is well worth a playthrough and maybe a retrospective video. This is a good suggestion. Actually, I was talking to Gene about PsyOps, and I know Gene loves PsyOps. So if the man Gene likes it, you know I'm in on that. So I appreciate this, Dave. Great suggestion, and I've not played either of these, unfortunately. I don't get the hype. Prototype. Infamous 1+2 was far superior with the better story and gameplay. Prototype felt like we have Infamous at home. No. Now you're going to set Dave Wonder off. What did you do, Shiva? What did you do? Not in Dave's chat. Oh, man. Not in Dave's chat. How could you do this, man? We got the #1 Prototype fan of all time. Don't you know? All right, in all seriousness, I think these games are less comparable than people realize. They're both superhero games, I guess. But like Prototype is an M-rated, like you're crushing heads, you're eviscerating people. Like that is Prototype. Prototype has the web of intrigue, while Infamous is choice and consequence and like the morality of a hero. I love both. That's like I'm sorry, I'm middle of the road on this at this point. Prototype, I think I defend a little bit more because I feel like people just disrespect it like this, where I'm like, it's not Infamous at home. You know, your guy's got an arm blade that cuts dudes in half, or he's got huge Hulk hands that he pounds tanks with. Like, you don't do that in Infamous. Infamous, you get lightning and evolutions of that. Like, Prototype is, yeah, someone said, Large Hog said this. Prototype is an evolution of Hulk Ultimate Destruction. Like, it's the superhero, super villain, really, fantasy of destroying everything in sight. And then Infamous is like really story driven. Like, they both do their own things. And honestly, I wish we got more, like, less, how do I describe it? I wish we got more superhero, I put in quotes, games in open worlds that weren't on actual superheroes. I think that would be awesome. But Prototype, like, we can't disrespect it this much, man. Come on now. What message does Nintendo take away for game keycards with Pocopia's physical success? I think there was a message to be taken away from before this, because there were a couple of times Nintendo was like taking thoughts through surveys, polls, and then also their shareholders were asking about game keycards, and Nintendo had responded about it. So I think Nintendo knows this is a big driver for them. That their business is different. Like, I don't know if it's the same way for PlayStation, and certainly it's not the same way for Xbox. It's definitely not the case at all for something like Valve and Steam. But for Nintendo, these things are like still kind of viewed in the eyes of parents as like toys. And it's like, what am I getting my kid for birthday, Christmas, whatever? Or what am I buying at the store? Nintendo games, you know? So I feel like game keycard is this weird in between. And I think I don't think they say anything publicly, but I think they eventually start weeding these things out, because we've seen also like developments on different cartridge sizes. And so I think developers will start putting things all in the cart. The problem is that I think some developers will still choose to go with game keycard, even if they don't have to. And that is because we have a situation like Star Wars Outlaws, where Ubisoft has said that, I mean, that's a technological triumph on Switch 2. It looks really great, runs really great. And they said that they tried it on the cart, but that it ran better as a game keycard, as a digital option. So if more developers find that out, I think they'd rather have a cleaner port. So, yeah. I don't know. I think they'll shake it up over time, though. I think they'll listen to that. What game, in your opinion, is the best example of choice and consequence? Well, on a fundamental level, I think it is KOTOR. But on a like spider webbing level, I'll give it to, man, there's so many good options. Divinity Original Sin 2 comes to mind because of how the tag system works, where as you make choices, your choices also evolve. And I think that's really empowering. Wasteland 3 is like an ultimate spider webbing of just like chaos and more chaos. And I think that is probably some of the most overwhelming. Baldur's Gate 3 is also just so overwhelming, and it's that you'll never see all of it. And that also comes to mind. Dragon Age Origins is really another fantastic example, which has just chaotic options. You can be a legit psychopath in that game. That's one of my favorite options. New Vegas, of course, is another one. There's so many. The best example, though, again, on a fundamental level, I do give it to KOTOR, because it is just like light side, dark side, good, evil, simple, digestible. You go this arc or you go that arc, and there's little permutations within each of the planetary arcs. Like, I think that is core, fundamental choice and consequence. You could also give it to Fable. Someone mentioned Fable 3, but Fable 1 would be fun. Joe Rocker mentioned Fable 3, but Fable 1 is another one. But I think Baldur's Gate 3 is the good modern example, because you could feel you're making a choice. You could feel that reactivity immediately and in the far term. So I'll give it to that. But Dragon Age Origins is like, there's just so, like, you can kill party members and stuff. I might give it to Origins as well. Origins is like superb shit. Man, good question. I appreciate this. Have you ever went back to a game and it was so dated that you could not enjoy it? Witcher 2 is my favorite, but I can't get through the gameplay. I think Witcher 2's gameplay is fine. A game that I fired up that, let me check Retro Rebound. This is like, let me go to my library. Oh, no, I have an answer. Hulk Ultimate Destruction. I love that game, but Hulk Ultimate Destruction's like camera and difficulty curve, and what you can just feel the game was rushed. Like, it lacked polish. It was just, yeah. It was like I came screaming back down to earth in the second half of that game. I want Bullet Witch back. Summoning a tornado will always hit. There we go. We got some deep cuts today, man. I'm loving chat today. I love chat every day, but you get my point. Do you think KOTOR remake will be full open world? God, no. God, please no. I don't mind if they expand the planets and put more stuff in them, because if you play KOTOR, you know, like if you're on Dantooine, like you go through those planes, and I don't know though, it's so like compact and just tightly knit. It's so perfect. But could they remove loading screens? 1,000%, so that like the Matals and the whatever the name of the other family is the Satalis and the, I forgot the name of those two families that are like warring against each other, but they're in like two separate parts of the map and they're split up by loading screens. If you mean by that like it's more of a hub, like an interconnected hub, I'd love that. But if it is like we're talking open world, please no. But yeah, I'm just so curious what they're doing with this game, dude. So curious. I hope we find out this year. Open hubs would be forgivable. All right. Mad Max is underrated. Good call out there. Let's do our first story, right? Been here for 45 minutes. I think it's a good time. Appreciate all the super chats and all the support thus far, guys. Thank you. But yeah, let's get into this. Let me grab my notes here. This first one is interesting, to say the least. All right. All right. Let's do this, chat. Here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, Starfield is in the news mill once more, and there's been a consistent trend that I want to talk about because members of Bethesda have kind of stirred this debate online over and over again, and we have another example of that I want to dive into today. So what we're talking about is Starfield and its reception. There's a lot of mixed opinions on it online. I'm one of the people who does, I would say, like Starfield. I can't say I love it, but I think it's a good game compared to what I see online. I think it's good. I enjoy some of its quest lines. I enjoy its shooting. I like its lore, but obviously I share a lot of complaints that many of you do. The loading screens, the lack of exploration, the endless procedural content, some of the technology already aging poorly, where I've seen the argument that like, hey, Starfield feels like it's made by AI, and there are parts of the game that definitely when you start landing on those planets and there's just nothing there that you can like really grab onto and feel like a human touched that or added a story to it. I get where people are coming from. It's a game that has a lot of problems with it. And Bethesda has not been the best at receiving feedback for this. I won't really fully loop Todd Howard into this based on his recent comments on the Kind of Funny Gamescast, but we're seeing another example here of not only long-term commitment to Starfield, which Todd Howard also mentioned, but also this weird kind of deflection that I hate to use this term because it does sound antagonistic, but sincerely, I think it's the best term here, cope. There's this coping of like, it's just not resonating the way they expected it to. And I think Todd said it best that, yeah, some people do find Starfield boring, but when I see headlines like this, I think it's worth revisiting the talking point of Bethesda receiving criticism, because if it was a one-off, I kind of just shrug my shoulders at it, but it just keeps happening. What we're talking about here is documented by IGN. Bethesda boss Todd Howard will stay the course on Starfield, says veteran composer, who also believes people were just not ready for it at launch, which I think is like quite the statement, to be honest with you. So let's read this article here by IGN and what Einon Zur, who is one of my favorite composers, by the way. I don't say that to soften any criticism on what I'm about to say about his comments here, but he did everything from like Dragon Age Origins to Fallout 3. He's made some of the most impactful music for video games I love, and I believe he's working on Elder Scrolls 6. So he's been with Bethesda for a long, long while. So let's see what he had to say. Speaking to RPG Site, veteran game composer and frequent Bethesda collaborator Einon Zur said he believes Starfield had simply been ahead of its time when it arrived in 2023 to a more muted reception than the company's usual Elder Scrolls and Fallout blockbusters. Now, we skip down to the quotes here. He's talking about Todd Howard. He says, he's a very persuasive and has a very strong character, Zur said of Bethesda's boss, Todd Howard, who helped drive development on Starfield during its lengthy time in production. Quote, he will also find ways to describe what he wants without really calling it a name. He knows how to allow freedom of creativity on one hand, but he also knows how to steer it to his own vision. He is a visionary. He sees things that people will start to find out years later. This is a pretty common compliment for Todd. And I think when you look at the games that he is heavily involved in, especially in his earlier parts of his career, like Morrowind and on. You can see a lot of that and how they built block by block with like a Morrowind and Oblivion and a Skyrim, like what the vision they were working to was, and then how that vision started to rattle and fall apart as like technology advanced a bit here. But this is a common sentiment. He writes, this also applies to Starfield, Zer continued. When Starfield released, I believe people were just not ready for it. It's a different way of looking at it, but Todd is really strong. And he said very, very lightly, look, if you don't like it, then you don't like it. But this is the new thing that we're doing, and we're sticking to it. I have a lot of thoughts on this, but there's more context to the quote here, and it's just one of those things where I'm surprised that he's saying this about Todd, because it shows a level of like my way or the highway, which I don't think Todd is like that, but it shows that there may have been some internal like, hey, there might be a problem here. But as Einon continues on and says, he believes in his way, and it is just proven time and time again that eventually people will understand his vision. It just takes time, and this is a common thing for all big visionaries. Sometimes people really don't understand them correctly, but they were strong enough to stay on course, and Todd will stay on course on Starfield. Starfield will eventually become something that will be legendary. I have no doubt. It's just a matter of time. And I know that's inviting a lot of antagonization, but like the one thing I want to give Bethesda credit for is they do hang with projects that any other developer in this industry would drop in a heartbeat. We've seen games with endless potential get dropped. But look, Bethesda has hung with stinkers like 76 and turned them around somehow. And I'm glad that there seems to be a Todd mention it, Einon saying it. There's multiple mentionings of other Bethesda staff saying it. Like, they're going to hang with Starfield. And while it frustrates me that they're kind of viewing it as this sort of, we released it in 2023 as a vision, you didn't get it, but we're going to get there over time, then I'm wondering when the vision's actually complete. And obviously people are going to say, why did you sell as an incomplete vision? That aside, though, I like that when a thing doesn't resonate, they don't just give up on it and go like, oh, take our L. But what we've noticed here as a, constant thing with Starfield, particularly from Bethesda, is this weird way of receiving and interpreting feedback, right? So I'm only going to pick on Todd a little bit more here because he did recently admit like some people are going to just find Starfield boring. But I want to go back to 2024 when Shattered Space came out, and Shattered Space was one of the worst reviewed Xbox products. It was one of the worst reviewed, if not the worst reviewed thing Bethesda has done next to Fallout 76. Like, it was pretty terribly received across critics and a lot of fans. And when that came out, I was hoping with such harsh criticism and again, people being loud about it, it wasn't like Starfield where it came out, the reviews were positive, and then the sentiment kind of fell off over time with more and more review and opinion pieces. That was very different. This is like everyone was, when I say everyone, I'm using it loosely. A lot of people were very upset. So with Starfield Shattered Space, I'm like, okay, hopefully they're listening. And then Phil Spencer was speaking on behalf of Todd Howard here. IGN writes, in an interview with GameFile newsletter, Phil Spencer said, we're always learning when talking about how to approach expansions, and mentioned a conversation he had with Todd Howard about the release cadence for content. Skipping down to the quote here, he said, Todd and I were talking about Shattered Space. Starfield is a game I put a ton of hours into and really love, but they've had this thing where they've added features throughout the year, and then they had an expansion, Spencer said. I think some of the feedback on the expansion is we wanted more features, and he's like, well, should we have waited to put out buggies? He continued, and so I think if you're trying to tune development effort and impact of the expansion, and I think there will always be a balance of managing the game month to month, but not every game will do expansions. So the problem with Starfield, in my opinion, was not whether or not the buggy was there and something I was familiar with. In fact, as someone who played and beat and 100% in Shattered Space, I barely use the buggy because the boost jumping in Starfield is great. So you can get around on foot. It's one of the things I do like about Shattered Space is it's like a hub area that you can get around with. You don't need the buggy really ever. I just kind of used it as a little gimmick. What was missing from Shattered Space was rewarding exploration, interesting side quests, thoughtful design, great loot, a storyline that warranted being $30, right? Like, keep in mind that we were just getting off of Phantom Liberty, and here comes Bethesda with their own $30 expansion. And Phantom Liberty, I mean, like, it changes the game in so many ways. Like, it demands a replay. And I don't think people were expecting that of Shattered Space, but they were definitely hoping for, they were definitely hoping for a bit of a turnaround there. So when I saw that kind of reception from Todd, I was a bit disappointed. And I expressed this in a separate video. I was like, really? Like, okay, so one of your key takeaways was to add the buggy, not the bugginess, like literally, of the DLC, or that, you know, it needed better writing or better quest design or choice and consequence. The ending of Shattered Space has a choice that you can make. And one of them, like me and Cog always make fun of on Defining Duke, because we're both like, Bethesda literally went like, nah, you ain't serious. Okay, for real now, what do you want to do? Because you could be the leader of something and you propose yourself, and they're like, nah, you can't do that. I'm like, why is this even a dialogue option? So it just lacked polish. So a lot of the recent poor reception to criticism surrounds Shattered Space here, because in a now deleted thread of tweets, we have also this recap here by Eurogamer, which is talking about Emil Pagliarulo, who's the lead design director on Starfield and presumably on Elder Scrolls 6. The headline is, Starfield developer says Bethesda still focused on fan concerns despite believing it's the best game we ever made, right? And so let's read the recap of tweets here. It reads as if you and the team are patting yourselves on the head, a fan wrote in a lengthy thread on X directed at Pagliarulo. It's a pat on the head that's based on reviews that may not be warranted. So Pagliarulo said in his own thread that he enjoy leaving fans hanging. He said, as the design director, sometimes I am asked or instructed to do interviews. I was happy to do that to represent the designers in the studio, seeing how hard and passionately they worked on Shattered Space. They deserve nothing less. However, he acknowledged that his own optimism is in no way meant to be mud in the eye of any dissatisfied fan. He continued, I am also very proud of Shattered Space. We all are. Most of the quests and levels were done by designers who have worked on previous Bethesda games and DLCs, going all the way back to Morrowind. They're good at what they do, and it shows. Maybe it's a game of expectations. Fans want a lot, and we can do all that to accommodate them. Here's what I can tell you. Nobody at Bethesda is patting themselves on the back while ignoring our players. Pagliarulo also acknowledged, in addition to delivering Shattered Space, Bethesda has spent a lot of time this year addressing community concerns and making fixes. We'll continue to do so, and we will be listening to our fans every step of the way. We make these games for all of you. He concluded, I love games. I love Bethesda games. I've been playing them since the Terminator days. All I or anyone here wants to do is make those games and make them better. No ego, no arrogance, just a lot of hard work and appreciation for our fans. Regardless of thoughts on Shattered Space, it's a welcome exchange from Pagliarulo, who noted, I think a bridge to the devs is important. So I know a lot of people give Emil a tough time. I try to stay reasonable with him because I mean, again, I always say, just like search his name on YouTube. You'll see what I mean. There's just no level of like not fuck this guy energy online. So when he says things, I try to, okay, like let's take it for what it is and what he's saying here. And again, what we see here is, I think, a fairer reception compared to like, what about the buggies? What we see here is someone who's saying, hey, we're not trying to rub it in your face if you're not happy with it, but also we're proud of it. And he did talk about, again, a game of expectations. This is something that we've seen Bethesda has learned their lesson on. When Todd was asked about Starfield 2.0, what did he do? He got in front of it and said, hey, no, like, it's not that. And so I think them managing that was maybe something they felt they missed with Shattered Space, and they're trying to do for this next suite of updates. At the same time, incidentally, the most damning thing that they put out there in this thread that's now deleted is this right here, I think, which is, I'm proud of Shattered Space. We all are. Most of the quests and levels were done by designers who have worked on previous Bethesda games and DLCs going back to Morrowind. They're good at what they do, and it shows. That right there is a contradiction to the optimism is in no way to mean to be mud in the eye of any dissatisfied fan. I know a lot of like devs don't like when you cherry pick their words and stuff, but like, dude, we're talking 1-2 sentences back to back here. And we're talking about a situation where Starfield is like one of your worst reviewed products. You cannot, I mean, you can say internally, like, you don't want a dog on your team. I totally get that. It's a team thing. You can't go out there and be like, this shit's bad, because you're going to lead to disgruntled staff and people aren't going to try as hard. They're not going to respect you as much. There's going to be infighting. Like, I get that here. So I understand why internally there should be a sense of like keeping the morale high. You don't got to dog them publicly as well. I get all of that. But at the same time, it does feel like it's a contradiction, because it is a contradiction to what was there before. And again, this is what I'm talking about with the reception to the feedback, is like, if you're listening, I don't think you truly listening, truly seeing the dissatisfaction, I don't think you say these types of things. And then the icing on the cake really was just that they say most of the old school Bethesda Game Studio staff did work on this, because my hope was like, it was a bunch of new staff, while the current staff, the more veteran staff, was working on like, you know, Elder Scrolls 6, the big one. So these are like 3 times. That's why I'm making it clear here. I don't mean to retread old ground, but it's why I'm making it clear here. This isn't like a situation where, oh, like I'm picking on Einon Zur, oh, I'm picking on Tide. It's like, no, like their leaders continue to say this about Starfield, and there's this like, you weren't ready for it. We are really proud of it. Was it the buggies? And it's like, I'm glad they try to listen. I'm glad that they try to fix it. But sometimes I wonder at times if it's for show, because I don't know how you can confidently say to someone for a game that is mixed on Steam, for example, that you just weren't ready for it at launch. Like, that is disrespectful to your audience and their intelligence. Like, you just didn't get it. Or it's disrespectful when Phil puts it out there like, hey, guys, if we gave you the buggy, you wouldn't have cared about the shitty writing, or you wouldn't have cared about the bad quest design, or the just in the general length of the quest. Like, you wouldn't have cared about that because you got the buggy. It's like, you don't hand me toys or put makeup on a pig, right? That's just what it's called. You don't hand them toys, though, to distract them like a little kid. Like, there's more to it than that. And what I see is a level of reflection, but not on a deeper level, at least externally, because if they're going to air it publicly, now I talk about it. But if you're going to do it internally, that's different. And what they say to each other internally may be different. But what you're saying externally does not reflect as a fan to me that you guys are actually honing in on like, hey, exploration is a problem. What have you done about that? Hey, the actual hub area for Shattered Space, like House Faroon, was a bit lacking. Like, what did you do for that? Now, it seems like it won't be long until we figure out what's going on with Starfield next, because what we've got here are a couple of tweets from some of my homies. Juicehead just went to Bethesda Game Studios. He said, I got a very cool opportunity to do something. Excited to talk more about Starfield soon. Stay tuned. And the homie JV also went out to Bethesda Game Studios. Shout out to these two guys. They work really hard and they do awesome content. Well-deserved opportunities. But anyway, JV did say if you told 13-year-old me that he would one day visit the studio and made his favorite games, he wouldn't have believed you. I got to go there and I still can't believe it. Can't wait to share more soon. And so I imagine, again, based on Juice's tweet, and also I saw Greg Miller was there, that there's going to be more Starfield information soon. So we'll find out how Bethesda is applying themselves shortly here. But I think my hope is that they show they're listening and that they're truly receiving and processing this information and applying it somewhere, right? We're human. Like, I'm going to end this with I'm not trying to get on my soapbox, but I'm going to end this with a little bit of a lesson, because you know, at the end of the day, we're all people. People make mistakes. Sometimes we try really hard and we do a bad job. Sometimes that's just how it goes. You know, and that's okay. I know gamers don't really go in that direction, but at least for me, I'm forgiving if you try and you fail. To me, I find it more encouraging when a developer can learn, because I don't, and maybe you'll call me the problem, I don't expect perfection from anybody. That's just unfair and unreasonable. And I'm not saying that about Bethesda, but even my now favorite devs. I don't expect perfection from Warhorse. They've certainly made things interesting with Daniel Vavra leaving. I don't expect perfection with CD Projekt Red. Certainly Cyberpunk at launch taught us that. But like, I don't expect perfection from these people. So they're going to mess up. They're going to make stupid choices. They're going to make mistakes, questionable decisions. I wish it could all be perfect. But it's really about how you respond, how you make things better. So I'm keen to see what's up with Starfield soon, as it looks like we're getting more information. But I just hope that with these headlines that keep popping out, like Einon Zur works closely with Bethesda, is he indicating a sentiment like they're going to stick with it, but like it'll become legendary, just you wait, you'll get it. I really hope that's not the case, man, because as a Starfield fan who does like the game, I'm like, it is flawed. And I hope you guys really aren't just walking with like a sense of ego for like something like Elder Scrolls 6. Learning lessons is so important. So that's my hope. That's my thoughts on what's going on with Starfield. And so we'll see, man, but just important to self-reflect. I mean, I think about my own channel. Like, I think it goes down to that small of a scale. Like, yeah, Bethesda's on a big level. They have millions and millions and millions and millions of more people playing their games, buying their products, that sort of stuff. But like, even for something small like my channel, it's like my audience is my everything. Like, without them, I got nothing. So you got to listen to them. Like, if they're like, yo, Matty, you're being whacked lately. Yo, Matty, your videos suck lately. I'm not going to be like, guys, you just don't understand my content. It's like, you know, even if my intent was pure, like I've had shitty titles, shitty thumbnails, moments where I've misdelivered information. It's one thing for me to go like, you guys just didn't get it. Or it's another thing to explain and be like, hey, here's how the mistake happened. My bad. And just own it and eat it. I'm not asking for Bethesda to like grovel on the floor and be like, it sucks, we get it. But I like Todd's approach recently where he's like, yeah, some people aren't going to like it. and then setting the expectations of the upcoming update, being like, hey, it's not going to change everything for you. I think that is healthy. I think that is good. That is a good response to feedback. It's acknowledging what the problem was. But when I see this start popping up more and more, I'm like, what is the actual sentiment internally? So yeah, good old times for Starfield. Let me grab some water here. Oh, Dave Wonder says, I ignored Shiva's comment earlier about Prototype. A hot take, my opinion, but yes, Infamous was good. I love the locomotion in Prototype. Infamous has better storytelling. I love both, to be fair. We love Dave, dude. Dave's a great guy. Be like Dave. Be like Dave, dude. Fuck yeah. That's some good shit, dude. I love Dave's nuance. This is what you, as a YouTuber, right, as a content creator, we yearn for an audience like Dave. Oh, son of a bitch. Did I just... I think I accidentally deleted my... No! I accidentally deleted my file I just recorded. I went to rename it, and I right-clicked it and deleted it. Anyway, chat, hit me with it. Like, what do you guys think about what's going on with Bethesda? Like, how they've been receptive for criticism. I know we got a super chat here. Well, I look for my file here. Legendary, by the way, thank you for your donation. I appreciate you. Satchfat says... They seem super receptive to criticism, like on the voiced Soul Survivor and Fallout 4. Then we find out they wanted to do the same for Starfield. It feels like lip service. Exactly. That's a perfect example. That is exactly what I'm talking about. It's like, I feel like they do listen because they acknowledge these things. But is it like they acknowledge things and then they internally are like, oh, fucking these fucking guys, dude? Like, is that what it is? Because I hope not. I know I hate to get my conspiracy theory back, but that's sometimes what it genuinely feels like. So, yeah, this is a perfect way of framing it. Drawn Out says, I hope they saw my first video. I think they did, bro. That shit popped off. I think they saw your first video. Todd seems to scour the internet, man. I mean, he seems very informed on content. So I imagine he saw your video, no doubt. Let me label this here. Starfield. I'm going to get this to the homie Emmett so we can get working on this. By the way, shout out to Quail, who was in chat these last two streams. I don't know if he's here, but dude, we did the new process where we recorded the videos live while we were streaming, and I sent them off to Emmett, our producer for Matty Slop, and he got them out in like record time. So I just want to say thanks again for the feedback from all of you guys on how to do it better and get quicker with it, because that was my goal. Is like, I want those videos out fast. They're supposed to be like rapido. So I just want to shout out chat for helping out there, because this has been great. But let me get this over to Emmett. Where are you? Where are you? There you are. All right, let's see what we got here. Have you heard of the theory that Pocopia is a prequel to Mystery Dungeon games? Also, the lore makes me cry thinking about Ditto mimicking its trainer and returning to a city waiting for their return. I share this theory, by the way. I shared this theory immediately. If you watch my review impressions on Retro Rebound, you'll know I said this reminds me a lot of Mystery Dungeon. And the way, like, some of the music is and how it's delivered and the story and the tone, and, like, there's no trainers, but these Pokemon can all talk. That's very Mystery Dungeon. So I agree with this. I want to play more Pocopia. I think I'm going to make like a video, like 100 hours later type of video, because I think I'll put, or however many hours it ends up where I get to a point where I know more, but in my head, the number is 100. I want to really like grind out Pocopia. And so hopefully, God willing, I like Crimson Desert, because if I don't like Crimson Desert, then Pocopia is my only game I'm playing here. Thank you for your donation. I appreciate you, Legendary. I can't deliver it in the cadence that Colin does. Chance Harper says, Emil is arrogant and should be replaced. Look, man, I don't know. I mean, yeah, definitely like his public optics aren't great with the way he's interacted with fans at times, with like what I just read. But also, I don't believe it all comes down to any one person. Like Todd, you can put some of the blame on because everything runs through this guy's yes or no's. Like, but Emil is someone that I don't really I put a lot of blame on because he is a senior. He has been there for a while. He is a known face. But I don't think if you replaced him, Bethesda's problems go away. And I think people who do that for game development, like they think, like if Todd Howard went, that would be a significant change for Bethesda. You would feel that. If Emil went, I think you'd feel it to some degree. But I look at, like, for example, Kiwi Talks did an interview with Will Shen, and like he was talking about how during Skyrim, like Emil came in the room and pointed out some of Will's work and was like, this is what's wrong with Skyrim. And I think about a clip like that, like this is what's wrong with Skyrim. Like everything about this is everything that's wrong with our game right now. And Skyrim has amazing quests when you see the final version. He put Will on blast, and I'm sure that was deeply uncomfortable for Will. But when you look at something like that story there, I don't know if Emil's still doing that nowadays based on his reception to Starfield Shattered Space, where he's like, it's great. Our team worked really hard. Like, we're proud of it. We're happy with it. It's like, that is a level of arrogance. It's like, you shouldn't be. You're capable of way more. But I think if you replace him, it's hard to argue if like you'd really feel that compared to someone like a Todd Howard. But I respect the opinion. I get where people are coming from. He is a senior, and at the end of the day, leaders need to be held accountable. I just don't know if it was like a whole, like what Ubisoft's doing, where they overhauled their entire leadership core. That would be a more systemic, substantial change. Real talk. What is your favorite romance / did you naturally find yourself falling for in BioWare games? For me, it's Solus and Garrus. I'm not a big romance guy in video games. This is going to sound incredibly asexual of me, but like it just really never ticked the box for me. Like I just always found game romance to be written terribly and just not like any sort of spark of anything really. If I were to pick one that I did really like that comes to the top of my mind, there's two. One is Parvati in the Outer Worlds, because it's not a romance story. It's a really unique angle if you're playing Wingman for someone who has a love story, but it's more of a genuine love, not a sexual love. And I found that sort of, I think that's a story that nowadays people would scream about on Twitter, but I thought it was really well handled. I thought they did a great job. I think about Bastila from KOTOR. That's probably my favorite example, because that is a true, like KOTOR is a lot of things. It's a Star Wars story, the rise and fall, like all that stuff, but it's a love story underneath it all. And I think there is some real beauty in that and the obstacles that they had to overcome to fall in love. And that is probably my favorite one, even if it's a more canonical one. The way it's acted and performed even back then, I just find to be so incredible. Complex love, Geralt Yennefer. Oh my gosh. In BioWare games in general, though, I think I got to give it to Bastila. I would say that's got to take the cake. Man, I'm thinking Mass Effect. Mass Effect's just about who's the coolest character. Like, dude, in real life, I'm not going after Tali. But like Tali's cool as fuck in the game. I was like, I want to get closer to Quarians. Sure, I'll sleep with you. Sure, why not? BioWare was a mixture of like horn dog in it, but also like having some really great romances. But those are what really come to mind for me. Deos mentioned Morgan and DAO, and it's like, yeah, Morgan. Oh my God, bro. Morgan. I remember playing that shit. How fucking old was I? I had to be like low teens. Had to be. Yeah, Morgan romance went hard, dude. That was fun. That was cool as fuck. Morgan's great. But yeah, like, I don't know, dude. I think like romance in games have come a long way. BioWare really spearheaded that. They had some funny ones, like Iron Bull was a hilarious one. Obviously, that's like an iconic scene in Inquisition. That's like one of the best romance scenes that BioWare's done. I don't think of BioWare for romance anymore. Certainly, and again, I say with all due respect, Veilguard just like terribly written romance, dude. Like I showed that in my review. I had to. I was like, I romanced Harding, and I was like, what? Who the fuck wrote this? Karlach. I love that there's some Karlach love in chat. Karlach's my favorite in Baldur's Gate 3, 100%. Such a great, like, such an overlooked performance in the scope of that game. Stream it on Tuesday, Maddie? Yeah, we always stream on Tuesdays, and we always try to stream on Fridays. I try to update if the plan changes. But yeah, you can look forward to it on Tuesday, Corey. I don't know if you're heading out, bro, but good to see you here. I love Starfield. I just hope Bethesda Game Studios doesn't take the sentiment of the few of us who love it and stops improving. Their NPCs and cinematics are severely lacking. Yeah, I agree. Like, I hope that Bethesda isn't getting so sensitive that they're starting to shut the doors on everyone and be like, yeah, like, we got it handled. Like, they just don't get it, that sort of thing. That's what I worry about, is like a level of arrogance setting in that is to protect themselves and their team, who always feels like they're on their heels no matter what they do. It's like, it's not. Like, if you get to the level of what Warhorse is doing right now, which makes a similar style game as you, but way better production values, oh my God, people will love Bethesda. Think about how bad of a spot BioWare was in. I know they're in a bad spot now, but like when we were talking about post Anthem and Andromeda, they dropped the Legendary Edition for Mass Effect, and like everything was just like, oh my God, this is amazing. Remasters are a quick way to people's hearts. So yeah, man. Yeah, Droa, that's my problem. Droa said, I find myself romancing useful characters in games. And exactly that, dude. Like, I romance I don't romance who I'm like in love with. Like, I'm trying to think of how to word it without sounding like a dick. But like, it's real when it's done really well. It's like, I feel like I pick it, like, cause I still think I pick on usefulness of like, when I think of who I'm going to romance in any game, it's like, whose story interests me. It's not like who's hot. It's like just who is an interesting character. So that's kind of where I fall on it all. I don't know if everyone else is like that, but I've always been like that. Even when I was a teenager and like my brain worked way differently back then, it still wasn't like, I wasn't romancing Miranda in Mass Effect 2. Miranda wasn't interesting to me when I was younger. I was like, I want to go romance the other characters. I wanted to learn more about Jack because her backstory was like really fucked. I wanted to learn more about her, so I would get closer to romancing her than someone like Miranda, who's obviously genetically modified to look the way she does, and she's a very attractive character. So, I mean, that's where I am. I don't think that's wrong if people aren't there, by the way. But yeah, romance in games has always been a weird spot for me. It's hit or miss. It's hit or miss. Mr. Mature, Maddie. I wouldn't even call him mature, dude. Like, it's not mature. I'm not more mature than you guys. I think I just look at it differently in video games. Like, yeah, these characters are hot, but like, it's like you can, like, we see how surface level hot characters can be in video games. If this latest wave of insisting every character has to be like fucking drop dead gorgeous, like, I'm not for the ugly characters in games. We've certainly seen that. That shit's awful. But I don't think, like, I look at like actors in Hollywood nowadays. Everyone's super attractive. It's like, I remember when I watched these old shows, these old movies that I'm catching up on, not everyone was a smoke show. And I think about, I don't know, like, I like that, like, games were just like interesting characters. That's what kind of drives me. It's something a mature person would say. Maddie, last stream I heard you say you haven't played AC Brotherhood or Revelations. This has to be amended. Those games set the bones for AC3 Homestead missions and the recruiting of the assassins. It was criminal for AC4. Stop it. Oh, well, now you bring in a little bit of AC3 into the mix. Well. Hell yeah. Okay. I mean, I was talking to a buddy about this the other day, and like, I want to play these soon. You've got my attention. I'm trying to think of when I could fit it in, though. Like, even the older Assassin's Creed games, they're great time sinks. I appreciate this a lot. I do want to get on it. Victor, I do not stream on Twitch as of this moment in time. Clail, no, Clail. I have played AC2. I've even played Brotherhood. I just never finished Brotherhood because I was what I call a mainline meathead. If you did not have a number next to your title, I didn't want to play you. I was that simpleton. So I didn't play Brotherhood or Revelations because I was like, I'll wait for AC3. But I played every mainline AC game for sure. AC2 is incredible. I love AC2. Brotherhood, though, I never finished. And then Revelations, I think I I think a friend lent it to me and I played it for like an hour. I was in like high school. I was like, nah. It's not mainline. I was stupid. I was a dumbass. You can call me an idiot. Maybe an unpopular opinion, not claiming it's the best romance in the game by far, but I enjoyed Sarah Morgan's romance quest. It felt very personal. Yes. Yeah. Thank you for bringing this up, actually. One of my favorite bits of Bethesda writing is Andreja. I love her character and that sort of it's a lot of what it echoes a lot of what Bastila's story did of like, we shouldn't do this, but like, this is what we feel. And in the case of Andreja, it was her religion holding her back, which is why House Faroon was so important to nail. If they nail that story, dude, oh my God, it would have changed the context of fucking everything. Oh my God. It would have been so much better if they nailed that story and Andreja had like unique quest lines and unique reactions. Like, God, I would take a remake of that any day. I cannot believe they fucked that story because Andreja is a great character. I defend her all the time. I'm like, the way they handle love with her, the layers it goes into, the performance, like it's good shit. It's such good shit. Yeah, I think Starfield does have some underrated romance. And Andreja, I'm glad you brought that up in light of the conversation Starfield, because Andreja is one of my favorites. I really, really liked her. I really liked her story too. And romancing her felt like a very natural interest. Matches to DeVita. Why do I recognize your name? Anyway, I appreciate you super chatting. Coneworks, what did you think of Jedi games? I'm excited for a third game where it takes us. I was just talking to Locke about this because without spoiling, because in case anyone hasn't played it, we were talking about the finale of Jedi Survivor. And if you've not played these Jedi games, you got to get on them, dude. I know Jedi Survivor had a really botched launch on a technical level, but because of that, no one really talks about how incredible that story was in Survivor. Survivor has like the first half is great, but in the second half, there's like 3 moments I call to my head of just holy shit. Like so good. Like if you're burnt on Star Wars and you need a reminder of why we give a fuck about it and why it's so good, you gotta get on Jedi Survivor and Jedi Order. Fallen Order is really great, don't get me wrong, but Jedi Survivor and its story, oh my God, so good. Did I skip your super chat, Uncharted? Hold on, let me get on you, bro. I got you. Hang on. I did miss your super chat. Glad I was able to catch the stream today. As someone who doesn't like life sims but loves Pokemon, would Pokopia still hit for me? I think it would, because Pokemon has an inherent sense of coziness. And yeah, like if you love Pokemon and you love like the creatures and kind of what they do, you'd have to let me know on chat. Let me know in chat. You don't have to super chat. Let me know in chat. Do you like Mystery Dungeon? Do you like watching the Pokemon talk and interact, that sort of stuff, and kind of the coziness that brings? Because if so, then Pokopia will vibe with you, I believe. Was curious. I only have 360 to play Fallout 3. Will I run into the same issues as you showed on PS3 unless I use back compat? No, you should be fine. Especially, well, I shouldn't say that so confidently. I don't remember having massive issues with 360 Fallout 3, personally. But I've only played it on like Series X and PC since. Okay, Uncharted Wolf says, I've never cared for Mystery Dungeon, but mostly because of the gameplay. Okay, so it sounds like you dare to play Pokemon for its gameplay. I'm not hearing any words like cozy, warm blanket, music. Maybe not. Maybe not. I do think, okay, did you play Dragon Quest Builders 2? Let me know that in chat as well. Did you find that to be interesting? You said definitely more interested because I love the vibes of Pokemon. I think it's a good one to take a chance on, I would say. You've seen Starfield update, know where it's going. Is it possible to thumbs up or thumbs down, mid thumbs for your thoughts on it? I can't say. I'm sorry, Liz. You've been so active and so like positive. I appreciate it. I appreciate the engagement. I'm sorry that Again, I wish that YouTube had a refund, like real-time refund feature, because I would love to just give the money back, because I feel bad when I just had to be like, sorry, no answer. But unfortunately, I can't talk about this stuff. When I can, though, you'll know all my thoughts. But unfortunately, I can't say anything right now. Anyway, Dave, back to your question real quick here. You might run into some issues. It's better on 360, but I think you'll be fine. I don't remember having, I'm trying to think. The 360 version is still in series. I think you'll be fine. I wouldn't worry about it too much, dude. Oh, Uncharted Wolf's a competitive Pokemon freak. Yeah, don't bother, dude. Like, if you're not into, like, the vibes of Pokemon, like, I'm into the vibes of Pokemon. I like the stories of Pokemon when they're good. Pokopia has a lot of that. It has the great cozy game elements to it that make it really wonderful. And then it's got the other thing that it has for Mystery Dungeon is like those layers of mystery and that kind of good storytelling. This game also has. Oh, this is Magic at DeVita. I was like, where do I recognize your name from? The DD Romance and big. Oh, dude, the center of the conflict every time. I was like, why do I recognize this name? Yes. Oh my God, dude. My mortal enemy. The one who caused the divide between Cog and I on multiple fronts. Oh, no, good to see you, man. Happy to have you here. Thank you for clarifying that for me. I appreciate you. Andor's Peak Star Wars, man. Fave Legends books. Revan. I'm biased. Of course, Revan. And then, you know what? Like, throw the Bane books in there. And I haven't started them yet, but the, what was it? The, what are they called? Let me get the name. Are they just called the Thrawn trilogy? I think is what they're called. Yeah, Thrawn, the Thrawn books. Are those considered legends? They might actually be considered legends. Yeah, I'm looking at some pictures right now. Yeah, they're canon. Okay, interesting. But those are great Star Wars books as well. I love the vibes too. I think I just like both a lot. Definitely gonna look into it more if there's anything there for me. Yeah, I mean, I don't know your income situation on Uncharted Wolf, but like if you have more disposable income, I think this game is fantastic enough to take a flyer on it. Like I do think it is that kind of guaranteed level of quality. And if you're comfortable with knowing like this is going to be a game that you sink a lot of time into and that you'll return to at the events, I think it's the type of gateway drug is what I call it. Like it's going to get you into the genre, keep your mind open to other games in that genre. I can't wait to play Starfield on PS5. Good. Good. Hopefully it's great there whenever it comes out. Found out the other day Pokemon has never won Game of the Year. I guess this is probably why a lot of developers don't give a fuck about Game of the Year because they're like, yeah, we probably make tons of bread anyway. Like these are just fickle awards, but that's interesting. That's a little fun fact there. But then again, Pokopia could be in the running. It's the best reviewed Pokemon game. It's like, like an 89 on Metacritic. That's pretty good. Can the creation engine hide / lower loading screen? Can the creation engine hide / lower loading screens? I have not worked with it, so I am not going to sit here and pretend I know the exact answer to this. I'm sure a modder would actually be able to answer this a lot more accurately. Here's what I will wager a guess on, though. Based on what I do know about Bethesda games and how they load things into cells, like their interiors are cells, like they're like blocks. Think of them like blocks. And they're loading that over and over. Like their planets are multiple cells clicked together, which is why they generate cell by cell. So that all has to like load in. My assumption is that the reason they're jumping from Creation Engine 2 to Creation Engine 3 is because they are going to try to rewrite that system to some extent. And maybe rewrite's not even the best term. But I think they are going to try to reduce things involving loading. Because Todd mentioned that specific point. And Creation Engine 1 to 2 did not really strip that down at all. So yeah, I would say it's possible that they can lower them. I think they understand they need to, because that was easily one of Starfield's biggest barriers. Like, can you imagine that game with reduced loading screens? I think a lot of people's problems would go away with it. They kind of did with cutscenes of the ships. No, yeah, there are parts. There are parts like I know people really like to dog on Creation Engine. I'm not one of those people. I think it's better Bethesda runs with their own proprietary tech line because while it's dated in some ways, it is also why a lot of the features it has in there that they would have to rewrite that would take them ages to do in something like Unreal Engine. I don't think the trade-off is worth it in a lot of areas from the outside looking in, where it's better just to iron out Creation Engine as it is. But yeah, I mean, again, I think that they could iron out some of these problems, like the loading screens. Like I see Dro saying it's going to be Creation Engine 2 with a new label. It could be because Creation Engine 2 felt like Creation Engine 1 with a new label, but there were less you couldn't feel some of the changes. Like you could only see them. And by the time you could see them compared to the rest of the industry, they didn't look as great. But I think Creation Engine 3 could be a dramatic overhaul and part of the reason why we're waiting so long for ES6. So we'll see. This is a good question, though. I think they can reduce it. But I don't think they're going to be able to do it in their current tech stack. I think they need to, or I should say their current Creation Engine. Like, I don't think you're going to get a patch that reduces this stuff. I don't think it works like that. But I do think that with the current technology they're working on, maybe future games won't have this problem. Hey, Matt, have you seen the Jeff Kaplan interview on his experience and his reasons why he left Activision Blizzard? Very interesting watch, to be honest. Yes, I did not watch the full thing, but I did see the clip of him talking about how we are going to make this amount of money or you'll lay off 1,000 people and it'll be all your fault. And people wonder why folks like myself, they're like, oh, I get that from time to time. And I don't mean it like I'm trying to give oxygen to people who hate on me, but it's like some people will come to me and sincerely be like, you're so fucking negative. I'm like, bro, do you not see how these people treat devs? Like, this is what we're dealing with here with Activision and Blizzard. And like, can you imagine what it's like at EA? Who, by the way, as I've reported on, thanks to an interview I did with Mark Dara, had BioWare, a single-player RPG studio, reporting to the EA Sports team. Like, we got to start talking about how backwards some of this shit is, dude. It's important to call out. So, yeah, great listen. Great listen from what I saw. I'm going to check out the full thing probably over the weekend. And shout out to Lex Friedman for getting these, like, deep-cut gamer interviews, bro. He's been getting his gamer bag a little bit. Do we know anything about Third Jedi, Mr. Matty? Any rumors? Hard to talk about without spoilers. Because you can only make guesses based on the second game. The third game originally had a rumor of a reveal this year. I think it came from Tim Geddes, but then he shut that down and said, like, I didn't say that at all. And I never, when he shut it down, I was like, I'm not even going to bother to look at I don't watch Kind of Funny, so I was like, I'm not going to bother to look for the existing reference here. And if there was something and he's trying to, like, because some people you can tell slip and they immediately go like, no, I didn't say that. I'm just going to deny it, bro. So I don't know. But so I don't know if there's any extra rumors out there, but it could be a fun stretch of Star Wars games. Galactic Racer looks awesome. Zero Company, KOTOR remake, Third Jedi. Like, we might be in for a good stretch here. But no rumors that we're aware of right now. It's just such a shame that we don't have Vince Zampella around anymore, dude. Such a visionary, such a, like, powerful leader, so impactful in everything he worked on, and he's not here anymore, man. It sucks. Like, it's such a bummer. So I hope it doesn't rattle Jedi 3 and all these other games too much, man. I would say it could be felt some base game was relatively polished at launch. Yeah, okay, so that's a very good point here when it comes to Creation Engine. I will say this, and it is my hot take of the day. I think Starfield was too polished. I know any developer listening is like, and even you guys probably listening are like, what? But when you look at the charm of a Bethesda game, it's the what you can do in its world and the crazy ways you can break things, whether it be exploration rules where you like jump up the side of a mountain and just get to a place a little bit quicker, or how you interact with NPCs and the physics and all that crazy shit. Like, Starfield was just too clinical, too clean, too smooth, baby. Like, too nice. Yeah, like, it's just like, I know someone already said in chat, Robin said polished turd. It's like, I know what I'm inviting in by saying that. When I say polished, I mean like they tightened all these screws. And I feel like if they were a little more loose with that, because they talked about with games, like, let me get into it a little bit more, okay? Because now I got to explain myself. When they were making games like Fallout 3, Oblivion, a Skyrim, when they were making these games, they have openly admitted that there were times they understood they could not polish it to a shine, but the idea of what was there was far more valuable. And I feel like Starfield was so lacking in the charm department, so lacking in what it could offer on that, like, hey, it's not perfectly tuned. And not like there's a lot in Starfield that's perfectly tuned. Like the spaceship flying is something I'm glad they spent the time on making that feel good. That was a good choice. The shooting felt good. But I would have taken like more jank in the dialogue, more jank in the animations if they had like a crazy reactive quest system or something like that. I don't know. It was polished, but and so you could see that, but a little too shiny. Polished in the wrong places. There you go. That's a better way of putting it. All right, Liz, again, this one's just throwing support at you. I remember watching your trailer breakdowns back in high school when Fallout 4 was coming out. 2015-16 feels like a lifetime ago. Yeah, it was 10 years ago, dude. It's crazy to still be here, like, doing this and just talking about, like, the same companies and, like, just different games, though. I never expected to be on this ride, but thank you for being here. It's just a ton of fun. So just thanks for hanging out. And I appreciate all your support this stream, Liz. Thank you. Oh, Dave Wonder, giving you a shout out for buying a console now. Videos helped me immensely with my retro gaming journey. I started last year at Christmas. Thanks, Matty. You are the shit. Dude, I'm Dave, don't go broke on my behalf. You're buying a lot of shit on my account, dude. Don't go too hard here. What retro console did you buy? I know you were asking about a good place to start. I mentioned to you, I think it was PS2 I thought was pretty good. We talked GameCube, we talked PS2. I said OG Xbox. I talked about the Ein Thor a little bit. What did we settle on here? Let me know. Love how much you've expanded your content to Fallout 4. Thank you, Uncharted, dude. I appreciate that. Thank you. Close-ups during dialogue was just the worst and took me out of it. Yeah, Picto, I agree. I didn't realize how much I appreciated what Skyrim did with the dialogue camera until... It wasn't even until Starfield took it away, but until they gave it back to me. That was one of those moments I was like, oh, that was important to me. I appreciate that sort of immersive element of like you're talking, like when the dialogue starts and you're talking to me out there, like you're out there and there's no camera zoom. It felt less confined. It was cool seeing the world active behind the character. Very, very good improvement there. And those are the subtle tweaks that make Starfield, that like can make Starfield a better game. All right, I want to hear from the chat here. What story do you guys want to hear from next? I got Copilot for gaming. So we can talk about what's going on with Xbox adding Copilot for gaming in. Or we can talk about why AAA games are failing. Both aren't the most positive stories, but both need to be talked about. So I want to leave the chat. I'm just going to vibe check the chat. Like, which one do you guys want next? Because both these are equally interesting to me, but I want to know what you guys want to dive into after this. In the meantime, I'll answer this. Deos. Yeah, a little bit of a daring reply here. Fallout 3 greater than New Vegas? I'll tell you what, man. Fallout 3's atmosphere is unmatched. So good. Love the boldness here. Is Einon Zur the only Starfield news match? Yes, drawn out. Yep. That's the main one. AAA game. All right, I'm seeing a lot of AAA games so far. Everyone doesn't want to talk about AI. All right. I can't take any more slop news right now. Okay, I got you guys. All right, I got you guys. We'll do AAA. Thank you, chat. All right, let me get the links up and rolling here. Appreciate you guys helping out. Let's see here. Put that in that order. This is going to be such a juicy one. So much to be said about this. Let me bring this up as well. Don't delete this recording too. I know, right? I did manage to recover it, fortunately. I did manage to recover it. Hold on, let me get this instead. Okay. Yeah, this is another. Yeah, there's so many like fucking tendrils to this story with EA and Battlefield, bro. It's just like. Let me grab my own tweet. I actually don't have that as reference here, but I bring up some fucking facts, B. Let's see here. Actually, all this mentions the stuff I'm going to talk about. There's no need for my tweet then. No need. All right. Let me bring this document over here. I just joined Copilot for Gaming. Who wants this? Well, we'll talk about that. That'll be story number 3. We'll talk about AI, the AI slop on Matty slop. Ooh. Poll 3 versus New Vegas. Let's do this. Can I do a poll? Am I able to do a poll? Engage with your audience. Start a poll. All right, here you go. Fallout 3. New Vegas. Hey, Squid of Cheese with 5 gifted subs. Thank you, dude. That's really nice of you, man. Thanks for showing up and supporting the streams as always. All right, there you go. I started a poll, and we'll see where it ends here. We got here. Maddie, if you could have a game studio of your choice, make a game of a culture of your choice, like Jade Empire, Hellblade, etc., what would you choose? Game of culture. That's an interesting way of wording it. Because I'm just like, when you say that, are you talking about like a specific pocket of like life itself? Or are you talking about like as a man of culture, as in like a game that you would like to continue on here? Because you use Jade Empire, which is why my brain's in that direction here. Hey, this vote's a little bit closer than I expected. I'm not going to lie. Right now, New Vegas has the lead. Might be wrong on this, but I think you can enable mods to start polls. I think I can. Someone brought up Aztecs, Mayans. All right, if we're talking like actual culture, I'm trying to think, because this is what really pulled me to Assassin's Creed, was that it would dive into these different historical and cultural pockets, some that I never knew existed, and I learned more about them. Like the peak of the Industrial Revolution. Like that was so cool for Syndicate, right? So I'm trying to think if there's a pocket. I think, no, I was about to say American Revolution, but that's why I love fucking Assassin's Creed 3. Man, Assassin's Creed is like that series to me. Like what you're describing is that series. Silent Hill kind of did that with Silent Hill F. Like they went into a particular pocket of time as a woman during that time in Japan and what that meant. What kind of culture? What kind of culture? Come on, Maddie. Let's see here. I was going to say France, but now I'm thinking of Saboteur during World War II, and like that's really interesting. Come on, Matt. Come on, stretch your brain into some type of pocket of history that hasn't been covered before. I really like alternate history. Wolfenstein with its like alternate history approach where you go to the fucking like Nazi moon base and shit is awesome. Why is this such a hard question to answer? Sometimes I have to just accept I don't have a good answer. I see people saying Aztecs in the chat, but like Middle Eastern would be interesting. But Assassin's Creed 1 kind of did that as well, right? Like with Jerusalem, you go there and whatnot. What's a pocket of the world that... Okay, I'm going to pick this one, even though it was kind of done. Remember Agents of Mayhem and how it was set in South Korea? I feel like South Korea would be an interesting setting. Like I think of like Sleeping Dogs, right? And how Sleeping Dogs was set in Hong Kong. It's like, wow, never really thought how great an open world set here would be, especially if it's a GTA like. So a GTA like in South Korea. That's my answer. That's my random pocket that I can think of. Y'all are way more sophisticated. I'm seeing Antarctica. I'm seeing South Africa. I'm terrible with these questions, bro. I'm sorry. I hope this is a great answer, though. I heard someone say Starfield did exploration worse, but RPG mechanics better compared to Skyrim. Is this your vibe, too? I don't play Bethesda games, but picked up Starfield since I wanted space combat. That's a pretty fair vibe. Yeah, Starfield has more, like, choice and consequence. Starfield has... I think that's really it in its stories. Its actual, like, perk system... You can eventually become God mode in this game like any Bethesda game. So it's very Skyrim in that way. So the RPG mechanics are really narratively speaking. And it's not like broad and branching like a Baldur's Gate, but there is kind of like good, bad. So that's there. It is better, but it's not saying much because Fallout or Skyrim is not like a really hardcore RPG in that sense. Said it in North Korea instead of you're cooking. You need to do another interview with Todd. Seriously, one of the best ones out there. Love to hear more on his plans to make Starfield legendary. I agree, man. I do agree. It's a lot of people do ask for more interviews from me, and my answer to that with these types of ones is like, and I don't say this with arrogance or ego, but like I think the expectation is that I have to interview the who's who's, and I'm trying to also make sure I interview people who are like newer as well, or lesser known. And how I can kind of make them more, I put it in quotes, marketable. And so with people like Todd, it's like, I don't know if I'll ever get to interview him again. And if I do, it's probably going to be a while. So I do want to talk to him again because like if I talked to him in 2024, which I did, middle of 2024, and I talked to him a year later, not a lot has changed. But now we're heading to the middle of 2026, and it's getting to be that time where we need to talk about a lot of things. Like there's a lot that has changed. There's a lot of concerns. I do think Greg's interview answered a lot of questions, but I do think that like we need to dig a little. I say this with respect to Greg, who did a great job interviewing. I think there are some deeper cuts that that he would not have ever asked that like I, as someone who's up to their fucking ears. Like there was no mentioning of Fallout 4 Anniversary Edition. The conversation on Starfield and Shattered Space could have ran a lot deeper, that sort of stuff. Those are my only, I wouldn't call them critiques. It's possible that those questions got screened and removed, to be fair to Greg. But these are the questions that would be for me. Like I've had interviews with high profile people where like I've said like, these are my lists. And they're like, no. And I'm like, well, non-negotiable. Like I'm not doing this then because my audience is going to be like, what the fuck is this? Like, so I do want to interview him again. I hope I get the chance to. But I know, you can't have your cake and eat it too in this industry. That's kind of the trick. I'm sure that my critical approach to Bethesda does not win me much favor with things like interviews. Like if you want those high level things, I'm sure there's a level of like, get in line, you know? And I don't know. I got really lucky with my first interview that someone fought tremendously hard for me to get that opportunity. I'll always be grateful for that, but I don't know if I'll ever get a chance again. Roman Empire. I like that suggestion for a culture. That'd be cool. I want to post another super chat until I get through Fallout 3. This community you have here, I apologize for taking away time from other people's super chats. Don't apologize, dude. Dave, we love you, bro. Thank you, though. Thank you for supporting the streams. Are you still interviewing the old Skyrim devs? Remember you mentioned a collection of a lot of old ones. I love your interviews so much. Yes, I'm gathering them up right now. I got a couple I'm in touch with. All right, the poll has ended, though, and we left with New Vegas at 53%. So it was a much more 50-50 split for Fallout 3 and New Vegas in this chat here. 53 to 47, 188 votes. The other trick with a Todd Howard interview is I imagine he's very diplomatic about it, as in like, again, get in line, bro. Like, of course I want to interview him, but so do a ton of other people. Like Drawn Out's mentioning, like, I'm getting another Todd interview anytime soon, but it's like, oh, that'd be really interesting if you did. You know, the only notch I have on my belt is like the numbers on my interview fucking murdered, you know, and I'm sorry to be that guy, but I'm like, when you get over 500,000 views on an interview compared to what I see others getting, I'm like, you might want to run it back. Cause it might be like a good place to go and have a talk if you want to really get a message out there. And obviously for Todd, someone like him, who deeply respect and I really love his work, like that platform will always be open to him, unless he literally like spits on my face. Then I'll be like, I'm gonna have to think twice, but you'll probably still be able to come on. That's the only thing that works in my favor, and I don't think Bethesda or anyone really cares about that. That only works for me. Maddie, you get a Phil Spencer interview. I don't think Phil will ever talk to me. I tried 4 separate times. I've like borderline begged for a Phil interview. I'm like, dude, you cannot keep putting this guy in like the softball environment. Like you got to get him into a spot where he can talk and drop information comfortably without someone berating him. Like I don't berate the people I interview, but getting good answers. So, yeah. Would you ever interview David Gator, lead writer for Dragon Age Origins? Also, a Casey interview would go hard, would it? Interesting. I'm just saying, man, I've been building a list and talking to people. And so that, like what I was getting to earlier with a lot of these interview targets is I'm treating them in seasons. So we'll see if a new season debuts this year. A lot of interesting people on the list, that's for sure. But would I interview David Gator? Sure. Like, you know, I like to make the interviews make sense. Like, I don't like to, my primary form of content isn't just interviews. So I like to synchronize. Like, I've talked to a couple of people, like at Questline. I've talked to them about Tainted Ground, been like, hey, let's synchronize something for when you're ready to show something off next. Can we get an interview going? Because I want to, like, people love your game. I want them to know you guys. We don't really know your team or your leadership or your philosophy or that sort of stuff. So that's how I like to construct my interviews, because I've noticed that people want to check them out when it's relevant to their interests. You know, it's not just like a, ooh, click. Because I tried that with like Guillaume Broche. I tried that with Brian Fargo. I call them the raw interview, where it's like, here you go. You know, there's people like Ken Levine or Todd where a lot of folks showed up for it though. But yeah, we're making a list. We're checking it twice. Drawn Out asked me, do you think I could get Pete Hines? I would love to talk to Pete Hines. I know a lot of people, like, I will show my bias on this one. I know a lot of people who have interacted with Pete Hines on like the fan base side of things don't like him. I fucking love Pete, dude. Pete is a really good dude. Like, genuinely was so nice to me not just because I'm Mr. Matty, by the way, because I don't even say that like the who's who, but like I know some people think I might get like a buff or a curve or anything like that, but just a genuinely like really great guy, really nice to me. Like, cannot say enough good things about him. I would love nothing more than to chat with him about his time at Bethesda. I don't have a contact to him. That's a bit of a tougher one. I would also like to interview Matt Fiber. I think he is someone who would be a very interesting conversation now that he's out of ZeniMax Online Studios and talking about what happened with Project Blackbird. But yeah, there are some Bethesda people I would love to chat with for sure. But I mean, again, they're extremely skilled people. They're in high demand everywhere. I understand why these interviews are tough to pull. So I'm glad I don't have to commit all my content to interviews, because shout out to my homie Kiwi Talks. That shit's tough to book, dude. What fans don't like him? I just see some people like in my audience who are like, Pete's a dick. I'm like, yeah, but sometimes y'all ask him like really stupid questions. To be fair. And he will be like, ask stupid questions, get stupid answers. And maybe that's not the best way for him to do his job, but I don't blame him for letting off some steam sometimes. Don Matcher, can you imagine? No. Any interest in trying to get Tim Kaine? Yeah. Yeah, I'd be interested in like talking to Tim. That would be cool. The thing with interviewing Tim Kaine is he is super transparent, and that is great, but that is why his YouTube channel exists. Him and I getting together and talking, as someone who is an aspiring, or I guess I am a developer, but like I say aspiring because I haven't released anything yet. His channel is a gold mine for dev stories, devlogs, information, you know, what if stories. Like what if you worked on Fallout again? Like, he answers all of these questions. Everything I ever want to ask him has been answered already. So I don't really think he would be a great interview, not because he's not interesting. He's super interesting. That's why I watch his channel. But he's kind of talked about it all. So we'd be reiterating stuff. It'd be boring for him. Probably not as interesting for me. Not as interesting for my audience. So, yeah. Anyway, let's do this next story here, chat. We want to talk about why AAA games are failing. Good Lord Almighty. It doesn't get more, I wouldn't say baffling, but it's more like you can understand why they're doing what they're doing, but it doesn't make it any less stupid. So let me get my recording going here and make sure, as we talked about earlier, I don't delete it. Oh, there's that tuna sandwich. Holy shit. All right, here we go. Who's ready for a little Matty Slop real time? Let's do this. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, EA, they're in the headlines. And you know what that means. No, we're not getting a remaster of Lord of the Rings Conquest. They published that, right? I think they did. Hang on. Did they publish that? Hold on. They did. They did. Okay, so their name is in the headlines. And it's not because they're remastering that, unfortunately. What they're in the headlines for is because they happen to have the #1 selling game of last year, and they happen to have a certain amount of layoffs for the team that made it, despite being the #1 selling game of 2025, beating out the likes of Call of Duty, which only happened once with Hogwarts Legacy, which sold 20+ million copies. And the only other time that it happened was like 15 years beforehand. So it's a really rare thing to beat Call of Duty. I think that would earn you a little bit of job security nowadays, being the #1 selling game in the industry. I guess not. I want to talk about why AAA games are failing. And it really is easy to explain, but once you go through all of the numbers and you see the status of the industry and like how high profile the success this game was, it just really is like bleak, dude. So let's read. This comes from IGN, where they write, EA has laid off an unknown number of individuals across its Battlefield teams, including workers at Criterion, DICE, Ripple Effect, and Motive Studio, IGN understands. Let's just pause here really quickly. I know we're sentence 1 here, but I've also seen when I put out a tweet about this, some people went like, well, we don't know how many they are. Dude, when you're the #1 selling game, I don't want to see 2 individuals, 1 individual leave. I don't care if that sounds ridiculous, that sounds overly optimistic. I don't think it's this dreamy situation here to be like, you are the #1 selling game of the year. You're a few months removed from that game coming out. We're not even like a year away. We're a few months removed from it coming out. I don't think layoffs should really be happening, but I digress. Let's continue on. Individuals are being informed that the layoffs are taking place as part of a realignment across the Battlefield studios as the team continues its ongoing live service support for Battlefield 6 following its launch. All 4 studios will remain operational, as you would hope, though the layoffs seem to be impacting a variety of teams across multiple studios and offices. IGN asked EA for comment on a total number and type of roles impacted, as well as the specific reasons for the layoffs, and an EA spokesperson told IGN, quote, "We've made select changes within our Battlefield organization to better align our teams around what matters most to our community. Battlefield remains one of our biggest priorities, and we're continuing to invest in the franchise, guided by player feedback and insights from Battlefield Labs." If I were to wager a guess, because what they did with these teams is they broke them up. Like you had the multiplayer team, you had the Battlefield Labs team, and then you had like a campaign team. The Battlefield 6 campaign, I have not played. I have not heard great things about it. If I were to wager a guess on who got hit here, it was probably the campaign team, because like they're restarting that cycle for, I imagine, a Battlefield 7, and that won't be here for a while. So get down to a smaller team that's necessary and then start building up to that next thing again. But again, when you look at how massive of a success Battlefield 6 was and how EA wants to push this series in an annualized direction where it goes toe-to-toe with Call of Duty every year, trying to knock it out, which again, it did succeed at this year. I don't know why you let go of your staff when you're gaining momentum. Like, it's better to bite on that and hold on to it, even if it hurts a little bit. But at the same time, when you've got a big deal that you're trying to get through the door and you got some debt to eliminate, we'll get into why, despite EA having the biggest success of the year, that just wasn't enough here. Let's give some context to that success, though, because right now, all I'm giving you is lip service. So we go here to October 24th, where EA posts on their own blog post, Battlefield 6 shatters records, becoming the biggest launch in franchise history. How big of a launch are we talking about here? Following a record-shattering open beta in August, Battlefield 6 now has the biggest opening ever in the storied Battlefield franchise. Battlefield 6 hit all-time highs for franchise sales during the first 3 days of launch, selling over 7 million copies and counting. Thanks to the series' passionate community, the game has over 172 million matches played online and accumulated over 15 million hours watched on streaming devices during the 3-day weekend, as well as the most concurrent players for Battlefield ever. So, every metric, players, sales, viewers, these key metrics that define the success of literally every game on the market, Battlefield broke personal records for, and it would go on to beat out Call of Duty, which, for those who were not tracking Black Ops 7 and its absolutely awful launch, we learned by 2026 that Black Ops 6 had Call of Duty's worst sales year ranking in the U.S. since 2008. The U.S. is its primary market. Circana has shared its U.S. video game sales chart for December 2025 in the entire calendar year. According to that report, Black Ops 7 was the number one selling game across all digital and physical platforms in December. That continued Call of Duty's 7-year streak of dominating the sales chart in December, and the last time it was dethroned was Smash Bros. Ultimate. So what I want to be clear about when it comes to what happened with Battlefield 6 and Call of Duty is Call of Duty stumbled this year. Like, make no mistake. But as we'll learn in just a moment here, Call of Duty did still end up, as it does, selling well, but we're seeing a weakness. And I think that is incredibly important to identify here because that grows over time here. So like we were just reading here, this is from Circana, and we see here, again, the top 10 selling games for December in the U.S., and we see Battlefield was at number 3, and then we see Call of Duty Black Ops 7 was at number 1. Okay, so Black Ops 7 still found its sales when it launched in November, whereas Battlefield 6 was an October launch. So, okay, it tapers off a little bit. NBA 2K beats it out, whatever. But then things get a little bit interesting when you look at this right here, okay? These are the top 10 selling games for 2025 in the U.S., physical and digital sales included across all platforms. So this is ranked dollar sales, all platforms in the United States, which is the biggest gaming market. Okay. Battlefield 6, number 1. Boom. Best-selling game of the year. Boom. NBA 2K, Borderlands, which I'm surprised by, just to be honest with you. Monster Hunter Wilds, then Black Ops 7. We know Monster Hunter Wilds sold about 10 million copies and then fell off dramatically there. So you can put Black Ops 7 in at least, I'd say, a 10 million copies sold. Whereas Battlefield was only estimated, we don't have hard numbers, but it was estimated to have sold over 20 million copies. So what you have is these two directly competing, and Arc Raiders also coming at the same time, which sold 12 million copies. But Battlefield 6 comes out and gets double the sales of Call of Duty. And does, again, that success, if we're talking 20 plus million in that window of time, which by the way is a shorter period of time, Hogwarts Legacy had all year. That came out in February. It had all year to accumulate those sales. It got 20 million in an explosive manner. Came out near the end of October, and by the end of the year, we're talking an estimated 20 million. That's crazy here. But the problem were two things. Three things, really. One, expectations, the death of any AAA publisher. Two, fall off, which you can put at the feet of the various companies that work on Battlefield 6 and how they failed to retain their players, and also how that's reflected in the reviews. And then 3, the deal that EA made that they got to cut some cash for and need to do that quick because they want to get this deal over the line and make their money. So let's start off with expectations, right? This comes from Eurogamer. EA reportedly expects Battlefield 6 to have 100 million players, 3 times more than the series' best seller. That headline already says a lot here. But let's read this article in full here, again, by Eurogamer. They say EA's executive leadership has reportedly set a goal of 100 million players for the upcoming Battlefield game, which very few developers believe is achievable. This comes from a tell-all report from Ars Technica, which explores the game's many ambitions and problems through information gathered from anonymous sources. In this article, Battle Royale modes in competitors like Call of Duty inspired this optimistic figure. Quote, obviously, Battlefield has never achieved those numbers before, stated one source, while another said, it's important to understand that over about the same period, 2042 had only gotten 22 million, which, by the way, people documented 2042 as like a tremendous failure. I thought it got less sales than that. Pretty surprising, given how bad that game really was in a lot of ways. The article continues on saying, for reference, Call of Duty Warzone reached 100 million players back in April 2021 per an official blog post. Warzone originally came out in March 2020, so it took roughly a year for the biggest FPS IP out there to hit that figure. In 2018, a Fortnite interview in the Wall Street Journal revealed the game had over 200 million people who downloaded and played the industry-defining Battle Royale. According to the report, wait, before I even go forward there, what you're seeing there is that those are the biggest games. The biggest game. So EA basically put themselves in the camp of like, we are going to make one of the biggest games ever. Battlefield will in one entry become one of the biggest IP ever. That was the expectations. Let's continue now. According to the report, those who had worked at DICE for a while were particularly skeptical, with one source saying nothing in the market research or our quality deliverables indicate that we would be anywhere near that. The article also states that Battlefield 5's Battle Royale mode, Firestorm, failed to meet expectations while the aforementioned competitors continued to retain vast player bases. Nevertheless, it seems like the new attempt at this format is what EA leadership expects will attract much of that $100 million figure. Well, how did they do that? When they launched Battlefield 6, they quickly, a few days later, shadow dropped a Battlefield free-to-play FPS Battle Royale called RedSec. And as we can see here, the recent reviews are mostly negative. That's only 287 in the last 30 days here, but by and large, it's a mixed reception here. And a lot of people were upset with this because it looked like EA took their eye off the ball here. And by the way, look how many 0 hours, both positive and negative, 0 hours, 0 hours, just tons of shitty 0 hour reviews. It's so useless, bro. I get people want to express their thoughts and their opinions, but come on, man. Now, with this all in mind, we have a game that got shadow dropped, and it looked like EA took their eye off the ball because some of the post-launch support for Battlefield 6 has been a bit lacking. And EA has tried to build up expectations, and DICE and so on have tried to build up expectations for what can come out for the second season of the game. But right now, here's the tale of the tape. Mirror writes, despite what seemed to be a strong start for Battlefield 6 with accruing over 650,000 players at its peak, the online shooter appears to be struggling. In the last week, its 24-hour player count has dropped below 100,000 players. At the time of writing, it's sitting at a peak of 84,000, and this was just January as well. So if we take a second here and we do the good old player count check here, we can see that Battlefield on SteamDB has itself sitting at 50K now. So its players right now are around its 24-hour peak. It's fallen off a little bit, but you can also see in the day it's grown over time. And you can see over the week, it's been a little bit up and down, up and down. These last 3 months, you can see it's gradually gone from that peak and trickled on down with a couple of spikes here or there. Like this, back in February, not too far from now, a little bit under a month, we see it almost at 100K concurrent players in a day. Pretty good. So they've lost players, though. And as the article writes, it's 87% of their base since October. And so what the article does mention is that they need to start kind of focusing on their support. Like right here, they write, quote, I stopped playing as soon as Season 1's update hit. It felt like a bait and switch to release a shooter without a store that felt like a return to form, only to make the game a knockoff Warzone. And this is, again, in reference to integrating RedSec. So EA's kind of eyes got bigger than their stomach. And when you go to Battlefield 6 on Steam, which has many more thousands of recent reviews, it's mixed again. And the sentiment once more is like, I want to leave a positive review, but I wish the team would focus on creating maps and permanent content instead of the limited time crap that does not have a long-lasting impact on the gamer mechanics. So what they've really focused on, again, is the monetization. And a lot of players have expressed their disappointment, but still, as you can see here, because it's mixed, a lot of people are still having fun with the game. So the game isn't bad. The game has a ton of players still, as I just showed you all. And EA is looking to drop another season soon. So what gives? It's like, okay, it doesn't seem that dire where you got to lay people off for the #1 selling game. Like, certainly they've earned benefit of the doubt. Well, we get into the last phase of all of this here. And this is my favorite one. Okay. So what we've got here is a post from Electronic Arts that they are getting acquired by PIF, Silver Lake, and Affinity Partners for $55 billion. Believe that's the largest private deal of all time. Don't quote me on that. But there's a key statement here that you may recognize from my BioWare videos where I saw this information and went, oh boy, because they have to eliminate a lot of money. And so redundancies will be reduced. Let's read the transactions detail section. The transaction will be funded by a combination of cash from each of PIF, Silver Lake, and Affinity Partners, as well as over a rollover of PIF's existing stake in EA, constituting an equity investment of approximately $36 billion and $20 billion of debt financing fully and solely committed by Chase. The $18 billion of which is expected to be funded at close. Each of PIF, Silver Lake, and Affinity Partners plan to fund the equity component of the financing entirely from capital under their respective control. Upon completion, the transaction, EA will remain headquartered in Redwood City, California, and continue to be led by Andrew Wilson. So they have $20 billion of debt, and 18 of which of that debt is going to be funded at close. So they have a lot of money, a lot of debt that they need to eliminate. Battlefield doing well may help, but that's why they're cutting corners on, at least in my opinion, why they're cutting corners on the best-selling game of 2025. Because they are going through with a private deal. These people want to get paid out. This deal, by the way, funny timing here, transaction was approved and is expected to close Q1 fiscal year 27. So there's still time. They need to get aggressive with these cuts and eliminate wherever they can because they need to finish the deal. So, again, I look at all of this and start to think to myself, I feel like the game, even if it's in a mixed position now, player base has fallen off, that it seems pretty short-sighted to start delivering layoffs, because especially when the game has focused more on RedSec than anything. Again, I look back at this deal here as the primary reason why. And so there's still a lot of time to see what else EA is going to change. Again, it sets a horrible precedent on a number of levels. Okay, number one selling game of the year, whether you like the game or hate the game, whether you think that some workers will be made redundant, no matter what, whatever it may be, I think you earn that benefit of the doubt or some level of job security. Like, hey, you are a part of the success of the number one selling game of the year. That's not easy to obtain. It's a spot held by one franchise 90% of the time, outside of 2 instances in the last 3 years. Otherwise, it's always Call of Duty. So I feel like that earns you a little something, right? A little something to hold on to. So what does this say to other studios under EA? What does this say to BioWare? What does this say to EA Sports? Like, it tells you it's never enough. And this is why we're losing developers, because the AAA scene creates these absolutely disgustingly absurd expectations, like 100 million players, which the series is never, as fantastic as it's been, never sniffed close to. And then they have a tremendous launch. They fall off a little bit, as we see here, 87%. And then they get laid off. Why try? That's all you're telling the professionals. Indie knows why to try. Like, indie games and AA know why to try. The ceiling's incredibly high, and the metrics are forced to be realistic because it's usually a team of like 10 and under. Or in the case of AA, it's much more, but you get my point. It's usually a smaller team. But I look at something like this and I think, what does this tell your AAA teams? Like, it will never be enough. You are just on a timer. And I know it's not like we don't have a number. It's not like a mass layoffs. It's the fact that it's happening at all. It's the fact that knocking out Call of Duty is not enough. It's the fact that their financials are so bad that that many sales may not ever be enough. Whether it's because of debt accrued, however they managed to do so, or their unrealistic expectations, they have set up the game for failure. This is something we talked a bit about many years ago when we did the Ham Radio podcast. Carrick and I went into how Capcom kind of was like doing the should they, shouldn't they with the success of Resident Evil 7, because Capcom's expectations were in this really weird place for that game. Really high, even though we eventually got the sales for the game. We're like, this game cleaned house. It just didn't match this weird level that these execs convinced themselves is realistic. And this is what keeps getting AAA in trouble. It should be more than enough that you were the number one selling game of the year to hold on to your team, even if your team is 4 studios wide. You know, I get if there's contract talent that gets let go, but core talent of any kind seems foolish to do in any way when you have the number one selling game of the year. So I will continue to hammer that point home, as I did on Twitter and as I'm doing here. So yeah, it just sends a terrible message for AAA development, as it's continued to be the case for a while. Chad, I want to hear your thoughts on this one. I got to know what you're thinking about AAA game development. How are we feeling, all things considered, with what EA is doing? I leave it in your hands. I'm excited to read what you guys have to say here. Let me get this file to Emmett in the meantime. Square Enix expectations, yeah. Sucky situation. I agree. It's just, yeah. That's the other thing, dude. It's like, how much more BioWare already felt cooked, but how much more cooked can BioWare feel now? Like, how tremendously cooked can it feel? Man, oh man, alive. Let's see here. Vanilla. Maddie, sorry to bother you. Can you give a rule on profanity rules in chat? I said a scandalous F word and got muted by one of your mods. I'm a bit annoyed. Well, it depends what F word you're saying. Like, I'm not going to say it out loud, but like, I don't care if you say fuck. Like, what the fuck? Or like, that's fucking crazy. You're using the other one. I have no sympathy for you. I apologize, but we're not going to allow that. I've kind of given mods the sort of rule of like, if you're an asshole, to just mute, because I'm just not. I'm much more laissez-faire when it comes to YouTube comments. Say your piece, and then I usually decide if it's cool or not, because I just got a good read on that. But in stream where there's hundreds of you, if not thousands of you, when we had that stream with the State of Play and people were just straight up fucking ruining the vibe, I literally told the mod team, I was like, I'm not dealing with this ever again. We're not having this problem ever again. I want to get rid of the assholes, straight up. Like, not because they have a different opinion of me, but because I've seen chats that were like 3 times my size with a much better vibe. So, anyway, that's the vibe. It might, honestly, Vanilla, I don't think you got banned by the mods. I think YouTube sometimes auto filters that shit. So I don't think, because like Uncharted Wolf is here, Doomwalker's here. I didn't see anything get muted, but sometimes YouTube does auto filter, auto shadow ban. But I think you're clear. No, fuck is free game. Yeah, fuck is free. Dude, I don't run a tight stream at all. Like, to be clear, I just ask that if you're fucking harassing people that you don't be here. That's it. If that's a tough rule for you, then like, sorry. You know. But look, the other thing I'm not as attached to like a viewership with streaming where like babysitting, that sort of thing. Like, I don't want the mods to have that expectation. And then I don't want to manage it either. You know, it's like, guys, it's like, cool. Yeah, Emo, there you go. You're clear. See, fuck gets through. Dropped 3 fucks in a row. He's good. Fuck's fine. I timed them out because they said they would keep using how they used to. Okay. I mean, that's the thing. Like, we don't got to fight, guys. This is fucking ridiculous. Come on. I appreciate the super chat. You now know the rules, which there are, might I add, very little of. But barriers are important because it's not just my time. It's the other people's time who are here. Like, a lot of people chose to spend their time here. Their time's precious. They don't need to deal with being fucking bothered. And I'm not saying, by the way, vanilla for you. This has nothing to do with you at that point. It's just like, again, if you're fucking harassing people, that's my main rule. Don't be an asshole. If you're not an asshole, you're good. Some people like, and I also don't deal with the people who try to push the limits of like, well, I'm not being an asshole, but it's like, all right, dude. I've done this for too long. Anyway, thank you for your super chat. Glad I can make that clear. EA has been lost for 20 years now. Yeah. They have their moments, though. Like, they do. The problem is they're too green motivated, man. And I get it. They're a big corporation. But, like, I think about what they did with Dead Space. Dead Space remake comes around. They do an amazing job. 2 million sales. Like, keep going. Dead Space 2 is the big one. No, it wasn't enough. Fuck them, bro. Kill me. Parkia. By the way, Vanilla, but if you were, like, actually muted, we wouldn't be able to see you in chat. So, I don't think there was any strong actions taken. So I understand the frustration, but like, it's chill, bro. You know, that's all you gotta do. Parv says, join late. Did you talk about the recent Starfield in-person event? Did you get an invite for the event? Did you attend the event? So we talked about Starfield, but more from the angle of how they're receiving the criticism and how it continues to be a problem for Bethesda. I did not attend the event. I did not get an invite either. Which is fine. Like, I don't know if there was like I don't know if there was like a real reason for me to be there. So, No worries on that. But I'm glad who they did get out there. That's what I'm more focused on. You know, someone like Juicehead deserves to be there. JV should be there. I'm keen to see them there. And again, let's be real. Okay, I'll be real frank for a moment here. I don't know if this is the case, but some of my last Bethesda videos have been very critical. I also gave them a very positive review for Fallout 4 on Switch, but I could also see a world where a lot of Bethesda developers are like, fuck that guy. Don't want to see him in person. Like I said, you can't have your cake and eat it too. So you guys want the truth, you get it. I'm probably not going to be at a lot of these events in turn, which it's because the platform's growing too. I'm not saying this is the case for Bethesda. I don't know why, but I don't mind. But just so you know, as the platform grows and I have those moments where I'm like, don't buy this shit, it's terrible, and like I'm just that blunt about it, doesn't necessarily win you the keys to the castle. But that's what I know that going in. So it's like I'm comfortable making my bed and lying in. Do you prefer headphones or speakers when gaming? I prefer speakers. If I can get headphones off, that's why I don't sit here with headphones on unless we're listening to clips. Good question though. Yeah, like nice surround sound speakers. That's my preference. Hey Maddie, love the content on both channels. Thank you. Oh, my pleasure. Started playing Tainted Grail and loving it. Any other sleeper RPGs you'd recommend? Yes. Because the video didn't do well, Ardenfall looks really good. Very old school Bethesda inspired. Check that one out. Like kind of like I call it indie Morrowind. If Tainted Grail is indie Skyrim, this game that they're making is indie Morrowind. Really awesome. Osleys says, the light in the mood a bit. Thank you. I beat Requiem. It seems my love of Operation Raccoon City was justified when someone mentioned the wolves in the post scene. Yeah, I did catch that. It's so funny. I played Operation Raccoon City a year ago as a joke for a video on Retro Rebound. And I was like, let's just beat this game. And it's awful. I'm like, all right, whatever. Let's just talk about this. And then it ends up kind of relevant in this very small way. The Resident Evil timeline is just wild now. Like they're pulling everything. I was talking to Jimmy Champagne about it last night. I'm like, if they remake Resident Evil 5 and 6, are they gonna how much are they gonna change with the lore? Because a lot of people are convinced like if they do Resi 6, oh, they're gonna change everything. I'm like, I don't think they will. I think they'll keep it faithful. It'll be all that's good or bad about it. Big Papa Steve called that the Elder Scrolls wannabe game. Come on now. Oh, are you talking about PC Gamer? Okay, I get what you're saying. My bad. I misread. My pleasure, Daniel. Enjoy. Is it okay to ask about your latest thoughts on the excitement of Crimson Desert during the stream? If not, then no worries. I'm just curious if you are hyped. Otherwise, this is for juice funds. Homie, as always, Squid Cheese is supporting the streams. Appreciate you. Okay, so Crimson Desert vibe check. Where I'm at right now is excited. I'm really excited for a good open world sandbox. I've kept myself away from open world until this game dropped, specifically because I thought it looked that good. I'm a little disappointed that the transparency has become a little bit selective. That'll matter less when the game comes out, but like I did have to kind of get out of my shell a little bit. Like when Will Powers was posted on the PR for Pearl Biz and was like, yeah, I thought a lot of people were asking about console version, so here it is, like as if it was base PS5 and Series X, which most players own. And I'm like, I said to him, I was like, this is PS5 Pro, and Digital Foundry said there's going to be other consoles. Like, when do you want to show those? And there was no answer, despite him answering a lot of other people online. So I was like, all right. So there's like this selective transparency now with De Novo, where like when it gets a little too hot, suddenly the radical transparency that they've talked about is different. I think we will see base console footage before the game launches. I think the audience has been loud about that. I think they will try to get around De Novo. Those things, though, are not really impeding my excitement. Why is that? I'm playing on, well, De Novo impacts me a little bit, but I'm playing on PC. I have a monster rig. This thing is ready for Crimson Desert. I just hope it holds my attention. That's really what I'm hoping for. So we'll do a good stream for that when it comes out on Thursday. We'll do, or was it Friday? Thursday, I think. It's the 18th, right? But we'll do reviewing the reviews. I'll probably do a video on the general vibe check. Just kind of like where I'm at, how I'm feeling. I've been getting this question a lot, but I'm excited still. I'm pumped. I'm just a little disappointed that for all the radical transparency that they said they had, that they've kind of tactically dialed it in all of a sudden because they set this expectation for themselves and they've been meeting that expectation. So suddenly they just don't want to do it that way. And I'm like, all right, maybe this console version's coming in hot. It's 6 a.m. Got to head out. Keep on being great. Glad I caught the stream. Stay fantastic. Stay active. Bye. YouTube didn't like your outro. That's funny. Thanks for being here, Liz. We appreciate you a lot. Thank you so much for your support, both with the super chats and just being in chat, hanging out, creating a good vibe. We appreciate you a lot. And I'm hoping to see you in another stream. Thank you. Thank you guys so much. This has been a really like supportive, good vibe stream, man. Absolutely awesome. Do, 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 do. Let's get our third story here going. Co-pilot for gaming. Oh boy. Everyone's favorite. Everyone's favorite. I got a bunch of timestamped links for co-pilot examples that I get to show y'all too. There's one example here that's so funny because I'm just like, this is the best you guys could show. Like, I wish they tried to be a little more convincing with it. That's all. Just looks like appeasing shareholders more than anything. Appeasing maybe even Satya. This is a... hold on. Come on, open the link. Damn Google Docs. Okay. Okay, there we go. What do we got here? We got some super chats I was missing out on. Greetings from Brazil, bro. A new law just passed here forbidding loot boxes in gaming for minor. Huge W here. There we go. Ciao, Brazil. Ciao, Gabriel. Thanks for being here, bro. Thanks for sharing the news. Can't wait to play Crimson Desert on my Series S. Surely there will be no problem whatsoever. Yeah, did you guys... Hold on. You guys got to see this one. I'm sorry. See, little man's taking a big L here. Okay. Look at this shit, man. Where is it? Series S performance mode. 720p. 40 FPS, no ray tracing. This shit is going to look fucking terrible. A 720p game in 2028, dude. That's PS3 shit right there. In fairness, quality mode. 30 frames, 1080, but like I've said this before, but man, if you are getting Crimson Desert on Series S, I'm asking you to please reconsider. I'm really asking you to reconsider because if you need any comparison at all, keep these specs in mind, all right? 720, 40 FPS, ray tracing off. ROG Ally. Performance mode, 720, 40. Your new handheld on Xbox does better than that. It goes up to 60 frames on the Ally X. Upscaled 1080p. And this is handheld stuff, right? Or just raw 1080-30, which is actually really awesome. Because the ROG Xbox Ally is a strong device. So that's what we're dealing with here. Little man ain't lifting right now. This is a really bad look for the little man. I'm usually a Series S defender, but it's a really bad look for it. So yeah, man, Corey's right. Yeah, just a little warning there. Surely there will be no problems whatsoever. I'd love an X, but it's $600. That's the other point. Godspeed. If you're actually seriously buying it on the Series S, man, you might be better off streaming it. Your thoughts on the Matrix trilogy? I love the Matrix. So good. I don't know if I have much like extra thoughts on it. Like it's responsible for so many like the slow-mo gimmicks that I love in media of that time. Obviously, Keanu Reeves is awesome in that movie. Story in the first one, I think, is like really good. Kind of underrated. Like, I don't know. I love Matrix. Love Path of Neo, the video game too. That is a sick game. Appreciate the random Matrix shout out. All right. Who's ready for story number 3? I'll actually need my headphones for this one. Oh, we got some super chats. Hang on. Thoughts on Matrix 4? I've never seen Matrix 4. There's a fourth Matrix? I didn't even know there's a fourth Matrix. Oh my God. Was it another one of those, like, we brought back the original cast and it was kind of ass type of moments? Okay, I lied. When your game comes out, I'm buying 2 times, brother. Gotta show the love and support for my boy. Any chance of a sneak peek anytime soon, please? I'm gonna hit you with the Todd Howard. It's a while yet. Let us cook. I'm glad people are excited. The reason I mean, there's definitely been opportunities I could have shown it off to you guys earlier, but for me, again, my goal with the game is to treat you all like actual, when I say actual customers, I will clean up my actual terminology when the time comes to reveal it. But what I mean by that is, like, I'm not walking in showing you shit in early access and expecting you to be there. I've got to earn your money as a developer, as a team. We got to earn your money. We got to earn the right for you to be interested, let alone for you to purchase the game. So I don't want to just show you here, get on the ride, and you might see this game come out. I want to show it to you when we know it's going to be ready or it's on the way. So that's really important to me. So I appreciate it. I would rather you just buy 1 copy though, and then buy another for a friend or something if you really believe in it. But, like, that's how I'm approaching it. Just, like, clean cut. I got to earn your attention. It's not guaranteed just because you like my videos. You might like my videos and think I'm an ass game developer or director or creative director, whatever title I fucking have. We don't really use a ton of titles on our team, but, like, that might be how you feel, but I got to earn you. So that's how I'm approaching it. So sneak peeks, I could have done them a while ago. We're in a pocket now where I could do it, but it's just not. I want it to be like, because I want to show you the layers. I want to show you what we're doing. And more than anything, I want our game to be visually on a level where, like, we're really pushing right now, where I want to, like, wow the fuck out of you. That's what I want to have happen. I want you guys. I know a lot of people got shitty expectations. Everyone I have shown our game to before this current milestone, everyone I've shown our game to has said that this looked way better than they ever imagined. So even people who are close to me were kind of like Cog even did. He was like, I kind of expected worse. And I get it, because it's like, I'm a YouTuber. Like, what the fuck do I know? But, like, I'm lucky to have an incredible team at the back of this game that I think will really impress you guys. So let us cook, and we'll get you what you need. I'll ensure that. That's, like, one of my rules, is making sure that we can have I want to run a lot of the marketing through, not exclusively, by the way, but, like, I want to run updates and stuff through my channel, because I want to have that. I don't want to lose that connection and just be like, now I'm on this level, guys. Sorry, we'll talk when I'm allowed to talk. Like, if we get a publisher, I want to work with a publisher who's like, yeah, you don't have to check with us. You can make videos on your channel, like that sort of shit. So yeah, I'm really excited about it. I do want to tell you all about it, even the genre I want to tell you guys, but I just want to leave it to complete surprise, you know. And it's also like, I know it sounds exciting in some ways, but there's also, like, the risk of, like, oh, we could do it easier for ourselves and trickle our way to that excitement by drip feeding it now. But I'd rather just kind of put it in a spot of, like, have your healthy expectations. We're an indie team, but I think we're trying really hard for an indie team, and I want to really, like, impress you guys when that shows up. So I got to earn it. So thank you for your volunteering, buying the 2 copies of the game. But just make sure I earn it from you, and then you can make your purchasing decision. Choose 1 character from any game to hang out with for a day. What would you do? And who's world/where? I want to be in the Pokemon world, because I love the Pokemon world. We would go to Vermilion City. And who would I go with? I guess Ash. I know it's a really generic dude answer, but, like, Pokemon's got a sick universe. Like, I love Fallout. I don't want to hang out in the Fallout universe. Like, it's better in my head. Elder Scrolls, actually. Elder Scrolls. Hang out with the courier in Elder Scrolls. And where would I go? What's my favorite town in Elder Scrolls? I'd want to go to Solitude. Yeah, I love Solitude. Yeah. Fuck yeah. That'd be sick. Good question. Deluxe with Maddie statue. Yeah, easy. Easy sales. Being a YouTuber is no hindrance these days. I mean, like, I don't know who that is, but I don't mean it like it's a hindrance. But okay, I'll put it this way. Like, when I had a conversation with Colin behind the scenes, because, like, we were talking about, like, funding, publishing, that sort of stuff. And I told him like what we were getting feedback wise from publishers, even though like I showed our game to a lot of people because we did like a kind of a pitching round, and we felt like after the pitch, there were 2 publishers that were really interested, one that remains pretty interested, but we didn't get the reaction that we were hoping we would, which was like a lot of people putting up offers. A lot of them hit us with the like, we'll see you in a few months to half a year and see where you're at then. And a lot have started to kind of circle back around. But when I talked to Colin about it, he says like, I'd be really angry if I were you, because he's like, you have a really strong suite of platforms, and like, it's just at the very least free marketing and awareness for your game. And I was like, yeah, I mean, I agree. But that's why I kind of view YouTube as like, I don't wield it as like a cudgel. Like, it's mentioned in our pitch deck, like, I am a YouTuber. I do have an audience. Like, I'd be stupid not to mention that stuff. But I also make it very clear, like, the boundaries. And I think that may push some people away. It's like, you're not going to fucking wrestle my channel from me or how I'm going to talk to my audience. Like, you know, and so that limits the offers. But like, being a YouTuber isn't really a hindrance, but like, because so much of our brand is built upon like us not being run through like a filter or PR, can I say this? Can I say this? And we just turn on the camera and do what I'm doing now. You have to have a good trust relationship. Like, someone's got to really believe that you're not going to like fucking sink their ship or say something stupid. So there's also that. Are you funded by Tencent? No, we're not funded by anyone except me. We're fully independent, even though we're actually funded by Tencent. Oh God. That's a quick way to fucking put a wraps on your career. I agree, drawn out. YouTube is the best site. Okay. Who's ready to talk about our favorite subject matter? AI. Let's get this thing rocking and rolling, chat. This is our last story of the day, by the way. Let's do this. Ladies and gentlemen, you know, when I got these headphones around my neck, it means we're about to watch something pretty spicy. You know, what we're talking about today is a new-ish addition to the Xbox ecosystem. You may know through Windows this little thing called Copilot, because it's appeared in like every application. They even put it in Paint. And it's appeared in so many applications that there have been like independent programmers who have made commands for like your administrator shell to open up a whole entire new software that removes all of the bloat that Windows is injecting into your PC and slowing it down. That's why it's a little bit creepy that Xbox and Windows are getting into this weird funky marriage, because Xbox can help Windows straighten out their crap, but now we're seeing some Windows and Microsoft level stuff make its way into the gaming sphere. At the top of last year, I had the opportunity to preview some of the features that Microsoft has now officially announced that are Gaming Copilot. And now at GDC this year, we have some updated information on when Gaming Copilot is coming to current gen consoles, what you might want to expect for it, and how this will shape the gaming landscape. I have a lot of thoughts on this one because there is one feature in particular here that I find useful, that I think will help people out, and it happens to do with discoverability, and I think that is something that other storefronts not named Steam are really bad at when it comes to video games. You look at PlayStation Store, you look at Xbox's store, they need to do a better job letting you discover content. So things with like AI and noticing the trends of the games you're playing and kind of pitching you ideas based on your interest, I think sounds great. But where all this information comes from, like I said, is GDC. The first report came from Games Radar Plus. They started breaking it down a little bit. And then Kotaku had a really great write-up here. Yeah, sky's falling. I'm really saying that about Kotaku. But man, I'm going to give credit to where it's due. Ethan Gach, great report here. We got all of the quotes, everything here. They say Xbox is marching forward with AI features, but says it wants to protect content creators. That's me. What are we doing, Xbox? What are we doing, Google? What's going on here? Let's take a little bit of a read here because we have new information, and I'll give you visible examples of what Copilot for Gaming, at least at one point in the last year, was doing. So they write, the backlash against AI is real, and you can feel it in the way Microsoft talks about its game help feature, Gaming Copilot, at GDC 2026. The company is moving forward with integrating AI tech directly into Xbox at the platform and hardware levels. They say, quote, We really believe the creative control should always stay with the game creators, the game development team, and the AI features that we are exploring. This is really to support the vision of the team. Gaming AI General Manager Haiyan Zhang said during a presentation on how the technology is being used to improve the Xbox experience, quote, ultimately, we want to bring AI that helps broaden the game's reach, deepen engagement, and keep players coming back to your games, to many more games across the catalog, end quote. I think this is one part of the whole AI push that I'll show here that does have genuine positive potential here. So what we're watching here is a trailer, and I want to get back into Age of Empires 2 is what they show here. Can you install it? I'm like, that's great. Okay, sure. So they'll start installing the game for you. And do you want a recap of where you left off? I think this is also good. So, hey, remind me of where my save was. It says, last time you were defending Tyr in the Sultan Ascend campaign and ventured out to take the fight to the Franks, but let's just say it didn't go as planned. I know for a lot of people this might be creepy or whatever, but like, I don't hate an AI feature that's with how much content is around us. There's my content, like YouTubers, there's movies, there's videos, like shows, there's games, there's music. There's so much to keep track of and so much that is really worthwhile getting invested in. I do think a feature like this can be great. Hey, catch me up. Even if it's not even like you're invested in a ton of stuff. You're a hardworking person. You work 9 to 5. You come home. You got kids to take care of. You live a busy life. It's time to game. Every time you think you're getting ready to game, something slips away. Okay, I'll game tomorrow. 2 weeks pass by. What was I even doing? This can keep you engaged with the game a little bit more. So I don't look at this AI feature and doom about it. I'll be honest with you all. There's a lot I doom about with AI, but there's that feature and one other I'll talk about toward the end of this conversation that I don't fully doom about. So I want to open up with that because everything else from this point is going to be more of a full tilt, like what the hell are we doing here? So let's dive a little bit into it. While the rest of the company runs full tilt towards an agentic future, Microsoft's gaming division has an arguably more conservative approach. Zhang's presentation, delivered alongside gaming AI project manager Sonali Yadav, seemed to have two purposes. The first was to outline where AI features on Xbox are headed and the principles directing their evolution. The second was to try to make gaming AI on Xbox sound less scary to an audience skeptical of its potential. They mention here that there is an AI feature the company is touting right now. It's auto super resolution. This is something that we are going to talk a little bit about, but they did, as they mentioned here, reveal during the presentation that auto SR will be rolling out to ROG Xbox Ally handhelds sometime in April. Actually, we won't even wait to talk about this. This is another positive feature here. We're seeing this happen with PSSR. This is an AI upscaling feature. We've seen this with DLSS, FSR. This is another great place where AI is applicable. So I'm trying to take a very nuanced approach to this all because while I know a lot of you have given me permission to full sail, kick the living crap out of AI, I just try to, I don't know, it's built into my DNA. I try to take a reasonable look because when I do want to tee off and I really feel at will with it, that does feel like good when I've just let go and I'm like, you know what, screw it, man. Like this shit sucks. Like this has gone too far now. So with that, what are the features that are questionable or what's going on here or newer? Here's what Kotaku writes. AI clipped highlight reels. This feature auto-records gameplay that you think you might want to have saved to show people later, like defeating a hard boss or an exceptional kill streak in an online multiplayer game. This feature also just came to Xbox Ally handhelds who were signed up as Xbox insiders. This is kind of a weird one for me because I like the deliberate nature of the share button. Just like, I thought that was cool. I'm going to save that. I'm going to double-click my share button and I'm going to save that 30-second clip and show someone later. I don't know if I really need AI to do that for me. But then finally, there's Copilot for Gaming, which is essentially run by an LLM. Microsoft shared a few examples of how this works in a brief video. In one clip, a man's voice is telling others how to optimally calibrate their Ford Escort in Forza Horizon. In another, it's telling players how to get started in Sea of Thieves. A third example included explaining where to earn a specific drop needed to complete a quest in Diablo 4. Gaming Copilot is where Zhang and Yadav spent most of their time. Data from early testing revealed a couple interesting results. While the feature can be used to help players find games they might want to play from the store or Game Pass, that was only 25% of the usage. More popular was Game Assistance at 30% of usage. Most surprising was the 19%, so that's almost as many people who were looking for games on the storefront, was just people talking to Copilot for the hell of it. Currently, only PC and mobile. Gaming Copilot is rolling out in Series X and S consoles later this year. So that's a big drop. That's why we're talking about it again, because it's coming later this year. And it's affecting the broader demographic of at least 30 plus million gamers who are about to have Copilot injected into their gaming experience. This is what I talked about where when they first revealed this, I mentioned in my video how Xbox mentioned they're here looking for feedback. They want to listen closely. And I said, and hey, let's just take a quick scroll through 2 videos here. Where is it? Oh, I don't have the dislike feature activated on my videos here, so whatever. But the videos on these topics and the comments are not really kind. They're definitely not open to it, and they've made that clear. But because I mentioned this in my video, I said they're not going to stop. They're not looking for your feedback like, hey, should we do this or not? They're going to march forward. They're going to do it. So if it's bad, they're still going to do it. Your feedback doesn't matter to them on that level. That was my general takeaway, and they're kind of proving that here, because people have made it clear they don't want Copilot in their games. But we'll get into some examples in a moment here. The potential for developers is obvious. Better game discovery. Better game help means getting them past friction points and getting to the fun more quickly, which, by the way, this was a quote that was pretty key that I saw getting cycled around and people talking about in the industry, was that AI lets you get to the fun, as if just playing the game and figuring it out and overcoming the challenges personally wasn't getting to the fun. But yeah, let AI do it for you or figure it out for you. When Gaming Copilot was revealed last year, the obvious question was, what was the data Microsoft using to get answers for players? The AI doesn't magically know how to get past a tutorial in Sea of Thieves or fix your build in Diablo 4. It gets that information from the internet, and the internet gets that information because people put it there, often because they can make money off of it thanks to ads. Shout out to Kotaku for looking out here. Zhang and Yadav were sensitive to that in their talk. In fact, Yadav spent the last chunk of her time during the presentation talking about how important content creators are to the gaming ecosystem and the need to reward them for their contributions. By the way, usually when you see like execs of any level talking like this, where they're kind of preemptively mentioning stuff, it's likely because they need you. They need content creators, in this case, to do what they want to do. So they're going to butter them up. So the company's exploring, or certainly gestured at the possibility of paying people for the content. Yadav said Xbox is exploring ways to license gaming content from creators that's used by Gaming Copilot to improve the experience of players on the platform. But we don't have any specifics on that yet, or how it would work, what amounts of money would be changing hands, and whether that would really affect things in the long run. So I think it's going to be interesting times for Let's Players and guide people, like Power Picks, an established guide channel for trophies, or True Achievements, an established achievement place. I think it's going to be interesting times for them because their data is no doubt going to be scraped. I think of other Let's Play YouTubers. I think of Radbrad. I think of Fightin' Cowboy. I think of these guys who do like Let's Play videos, or Fightin' Cowboy does tutorials on top of his playthroughs. I think of that sort of stuff, right? And I'm just like, what are they going to do? Like, how this affects them more than me. I don't make walkthroughs. I make more opinion pieces. But where things get a little bit interesting here is, okay, what happens when you start doing like AI scrapes of reviews? We started to see on the Xbox PC app that they incorporated like how long to beat, which I thought was great. But one thing I really like about the review system on Steam is the user reviews. Let's say Xbox wants to scrape data online of like, how is this game being received by other players? Are they going to scrape quotes from my videos? Are they going to scrape quotes? I can't talk. Are they going to scrape quotes from press? Who are they scraping these quotes from? Are they going to use it that way too? So this has right now we can see where it's going to be utilized. We can see that because let's just look at PlayStation, right? Here's an article from the Sixth Axis, who shows here one of the trophy features, which is the activities bar at the bottom. And you would be able to click on these different activities, and they would show you, at least the developers that put in the effort for it, they would show you video walkthroughs of how to get trophies or overcome certain challenges depending on where you were at a certain point in the game. This is a feature that I can't say conclusively, but it feels a bit under-supported, and that some developers, like in first party, ran toward it. Like, I think the last game I played that used it was Kena. That comes to mind. I know Astrobot definitely did. At least Playroom definitely did. Those early PlayStation 5 exclusives did. But otherwise, it was pretty rare. So I feel like they're pretty much trying to take that process that PlayStation was doing and automating it and running it through Copilot. And the problem with AI is the same thing that's happening with art and whatnot. And it's like, we don't know where it's coming from. You can't trust that information, which is why people are pursuing legislation surrounding AI. Now, there are other open, active examples on what Copilot for gaming is. And this was all shown off on the official Xbox podcast. And these were examples that I got to see last year when Copilot for gaming was revealed to like press and creators. So let's take a look at this one together.
Xbox Copilot prepares you for the competition.
Oh no, Echo is taken already. What should I play now?
Echo's taken, but Cassidy would be a solid pick with this team. His mid-range hit scan and Mercy's damage boost will work great on Ilio's ruins. Plus, you've done great with him on this map before.
Yeah. If you game that decently, by the way, you know, decent aim, got an ult there, I don't think you need to ask what hero you need to play as, but okay, let's keep going.
Xbox Copilot helps you during the downtime.
How did I die so fast?
You stayed in the fight too long after your teammates were down. Great picks with your ultimate, but diving straight into Ramatra was a death sentence. Next time, retreat to regroup with your team.
Okay, so you get the picture. I see that type of shit, and I'm just like, what do you even call this? Like, there needs to be a new term. Like, there's media literacy, which I think is like a dying art. Gaming literacy, like your ability to like watch your own kill cam and just understand like, how did I die there? How did he get me? And just like not being able to even process that. So that's one example. Like, hey, who do I play as? I don't know who to play as. So it's for the people who I guess are newer, maybe. Then they used an example with Minecraft here. In Minecraft, it's pretty self-explanatory, and I can see this being useful for people who maybe haven't played the game in a while, and this game has very complex mechanics, or this is a game where you're learning for the first time, and maybe there's just it's too overwhelming for you. So let's watch.
What should I do first?
Start by punching a tree to collect wood.
Okay, I've got some tree wood. What do I do with that?
Craft the oak logs into wooden planks by opening your inventory and placing the logs in the crafting area.
Okay, I've got some planks.
Now, craft a crafting table by placing 4 wooden planks in a 2x2 square in the crafting area.
So yeah, some people may watch that and be like, well, there's no difference. I just get to, instead of looking it up, I get to just like have someone tell me instead, and I don't have to leave my game. It's a fair point. The other thing that they're doing to balance it out a little bit here is that they activate and deactivate a cheat system. So there's certain things that the Copilot would be breaking if it told you that. Like, hey, you know, how do I make this? It's like, well, that's part of discovering the game. But they have a cheat menu that you can activate, and so Copilot would tell you everything. So I imagine that this might become an opt-in, opt-out thing. But as this feature grows, if it does grow, I worry about, you know, I think of like my FromSoft games and whatnot. I'm like, okay, you know, what like, do they get to opt out of this? Does that break their experience? And then the last thing that they are doing with Copilot, this here is from Microsoft's Copilot. It's called Coming Soon, AI Gaming Experiences from Copilot in Xbox itself. And this was the one I was talking about earlier where I said this was the best you could show off. So let's watch this trailer together. It's an interesting one. Here, actually, Emmett, when you're watching this, by the way, in the production side of things, we can just cut that part out because I realize the music's going to be a problem. I'll just narrate it myself because it's going to be a problem. So what you saw here is that it will generate gameplay in real time using AI. And this is right here the best that they... Oh, I forgot to switch the thing. This is the best that they could show off here for generating the AI gameplay in real time. This is AI, and this is what they are claiming will help you via Copilot with iteration on game development. And they presented this because this was bleeding edge, by the way. They presented all of this with the head of Ninja Theory kind of backing it. Ninja Theory, for all the flaws I think they have, like, is very much a pristine developer. They like really try to be perfectionist. And I'm like, this looks terrible. And this is what they're trying to sell us on. And this is why people push back against AI features, because I don't look at this and go like, oh, that's going to help. The only features I think are going to help are the ones like I mentioned earlier. Like, okay, AI upscaling sounds great. Okay, where was I in my save? That sounds great. Game discoverability, that sounds great. So I'm not like full sale, screw this. But now we know it's coming to consoles. And so this is about to reach a much, much bigger market. And I'm really curious what the reaction is going to be. Because, again, it's not going anywhere. Like, it's not going to go away. Because now, like I've talked about with the other good things Xbox has been doing, such as with the potential additions to backwards compatibility and emulation and kind of sharing that ecosystem on Xbox with PC. Like, there's good stuff that comes with sharing Xbox and Windows together, but that also means the stuff that's bad on Windows, like a Copilot, which is in everything, is going to now be in everything in games. And so I just hope it's not intrusive. I hope it's a switch you can flip off. But if this thing is truly a console and not a PC, I really wonder if I can go in under the hood and remove this sort of stuff and just be like, I don't want it at all. And so we'll see. But yeah, the push for Copilot in gaming continues on. And again, if they're going to go in this route like they were doing with the PlayStation activities I'm showing here, I understand where they're going with that. But now how do you reward my creator brethren? How do you take care of them? You know, how do you get them paid? They worked on that content. They worked hard on that, you know, or they were there first. It might not even be hard work. They were just there first, or they have an established channel and they have a lot of people who know them for that. Are you really going to cut individual deals for scraping their videos constantly? How does that work? But it's funny that we don't happen to have the answer for that. We just happen to have the answer on like what it's going to accomplish with data that you don't know is actually yours yet. Interesting how that works. So best of luck to them. I'm high on a couple of things that are happening with Xbox right now, but this is certainly not one of them. Chad, I got to hear from you, though. You know me. I'm the loud, very annoying dude. But I'm curious if you guys are on the same boat with me. Can I date my Copilot? Some people enjoy the struggle of learning something. I'm speaking from a first-time CRPG with Pillars 1. Yeah, like that's the tough sale where it's like we get the kind of diffusion sort of like, oh, well, that's not how everyone's experience is. I'm just like, gaming is the only entertainment medium where we have to make everything for everybody. And I don't say that to be an asshole. That's just not how it goes, though. Not everything has to be for everybody. It doesn't. We don't have to like streamline things, you know? So like, I think the challenge of some games, like a FromSoft game, is great. And if it is the creator's intent, then why are we looking to smooth that out? Because, dude, I'm telling you right now, people are looking at Copilot in this nutshell, and they're like, okay, well, you know, it's guides and whatever. I can ignore this stuff. There will be a point that it will play the game for you and get you through the part that you are. This is the goal. They are trying to lessen the friction so that you continue to buy and engage. And why I have a problem with that is not because, oh, you have a skill issue and I don't like that. It's because as a game reviewer, I am worried about a time where there will be, we already got an AI game review. Like we just had that happen with Video Gamer. I believe it was Video Gamer, but it was an AI game review from an AI persona who scraped a bunch of other opinions online, gave the game a 9 out of 10 and tried to collect views on it. So I would not be surprised if there are reviewers out there whose morals do not exist and have decided to have a game get autoplayed for them so that they can watch the game and review it on those merits. Like, that's all I'm saying, bro. AI Copilot will be popular if it tells them good boy. It was Video Gamer. Thank you, Uncharted. Yeah, I was like, so it was them. And I look at that sort of shit, and I'm just like, we're not there yet, but this whole like, well, we're not there. That's not real. That's not reality. I'm like, stop acting like we're not encroaching on these areas because people are not going to wield this stuff responsibly. Let's see, Copilot and then forgot to send the other one to Emmett. There we go. Bada bing, bada boom. All right, well, that's the day of work done. Let's hang and chat. Let's see what we got cooking. Will games like GTA 6 be on Helix console titles? Quick save, yeah. I mean, based on what Xbox is saying, like that's kind of the beauty of it right now. That this is going to be a system that plays your console and PC games. And I think for very specific situations like GTA 6, which happens to be a very big situation because that is going to be the biggest. Whoa, where did that come from? That's going to be one of the biggest games. Like that'll be a huge win for them for sure. But we also don't know how quickly Rockstar is going to move with a PC port. So there's that too. It's tough to find time to play games these days. Well, Logan, I am happy to offer advice if you want it. Like, I don't want to give unsolicited advice, but like I run a pretty busy life and I find a lot of time to game these days. I'll give it to you. I'll save you the chat message. Get a planner. Like I got one right here. Effing birds. This shit's awesome. Look at that. Fucking deal with it. Like I love the energy of the effing birds because your boy is a fan of birds. I don't do any bird watching or anything like that, but I will say I'm weird. I'm like Android 16. Like the animals. Like that's who I am. Like I just see animals in the wild or I hear birds chirping during springtime and it just brings me some peace and quiet. And so I like that my planner reflects that. So get a planner that matches your energy. That helps because literally I have in here, like I mentioned, I did a sponsored video. Like I scheduled my game time though. Like that was where a lot of my game time was spent these last couple of days. And I scheduled that. Like I have here on my list here, like meet with Locke, meet with my composer. I have record upload video for Mr. Matty. I have defining Duke. And then after that, I have start this game at 10. Like I literally had it scheduled in and I knew I was going to be up till like probably 1 a.m. So, okay, that's 3 hours I'm going to play. So that tells me when I'm going into my 10 o'clock gaming session, like get everything done with, go to the bathroom, take the dogs out, you know, see what the wife's up to, hang out, like take care of what you need to take care of and schedule in that gaming time, like for real. Getting up early has helped me too. I've been getting up earlier and that gives me a lot more to my day because I finish it earlier and then my wife and I like to chill in the evening and that helps. Another thing that helps, handhelds, PS Portal, Logitech G Cloud gaming handheld. These two help a lot so that like when you're in a different room, play something for a couple hours. That sort of shit, like that sort of shit will get you far. That'll get you a couple extra hours. And that's what you're doing. You're winning hours in your day. You got to just be more... the thing with adulthood that I learned... I'm lucky I learned this when I was in college. But like... I was an adult then, let's be honest. But like... Someone said you got to be more deliberate with it. You got to be intentional with it. And like, that's it. Gaming doesn't come to you naturally at times because you are an adult, you are busy. And as you take on more responsibilities, it's not necessarily priority one. Like even for me who does this for a career, I want to walk my dogs. I want to take care of my wife and be there for her. She's my life partner. Like I can't just be an absent husband. Like these things are higher priority than games to me for sure. But gaming is also a very, 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 very high priority to me. And like, you have to be like very intentional with when you sit. I dropped my pen. You got to be very intentional of when you sit down to play your games. Like you have to really schedule it out. You can't just let it come to you like you did when you were a teenager and you had jack shit to do. It just doesn't work that way. But those are some things that'll help you, bro. Like for real, a planner. And here, I'll show you another one. I'll show you the ultimate Matty life hack. I shared this on Retro Rebound. Let me grab the video. Let's bring up an old Retro Rebound video from like a couple of months ago. Where is it? Was it this one? No. Hold on. I think it was my game collecting video. Yes, it was. Okay. All right. Couple of things here. Look at that. Same thing. Black hoodie, some type of thing on my head. All right. Here it is. This has helped me out tremendously. So what you see here is a Google Sheet. And at the top there, you can see there's... Here, I'll move the super chat real quick so you can actually read it. What games I'm currently playing at that time. What I'm going to be playing next. What I plan to play in the year. My backlog priorities. What I want to replay, and then what games I've beat. And that kind of organization helps you stay on task when you're playing something. Like there are times like as a reviewer in the past where I've been like, my head's been spinning because I have so many games on the Rolodex. I'm just like, oh my God. Like what was I playing? What was I playing before all of this? Before I reviewed like 3 games in a row, what I want to get back to. This helps you keep on track. But even if you don't play a lot, just again, it keeps you organized. What you want to play next. It also keeps you on track for like just what's coming up next. What you plan to play, so you can schedule from that. Like I knew Resident Evil Requiem was coming out in what's it called? I knew this game was coming out at the end of February, so I knew that was like Reanimal's mid-February. I haven't played that yet, but that's also such a short game, and it was $40, and I didn't want to spend that much on it, given how short it was. So I held off on that. So I had all of February to play whatever the fuck I wanted, because I knew Requiem was next. So I banged out like New Vegas, got the Platinum, Titanfall 2, Metal Gear Solid 3, Crimson Desert's on here. So I knew after Requiem, Crimson Desert was up next. I didn't have Pocopia on the list at this time. It was a little bit of an oversight. Pocopia I knew I wanted to play. I think it had a release date at that point too. And then this kind of helps you when you want to pick something off the shelf. I got quote, when y'all rip the line, there's nothing to play. I got a close friend who says that shit. There's nothing to play. Gaming's cooked. I'm like, dude, fuck off. Fuck off. Make a backlog priority list. You'll have something to play always. And then replays, like things you love that you want to go back to. Organize it this way with your planner in your day-to-day life. Schedule in your gaming time. You know who taught me that? Carrick of ACG. He taught me how to do that. And one of the best pieces of advice that I got was that. Just schedule your gaming time. It helped me a lot. So hopefully that helps you. You're going to need to do Uncharted for me, big dog. Look, Uncharted Wolf, I wonder why. And I see your profile picture. I wonder why. Anyway, hopefully this helps. Thank you for writing in, Logan. If a game plays itself, you're just watching a video. Exactly what I'm saying, dog. Like, it's just, yeah, this whole push for AI, I'm like, eventually, people do want games on this level of entertainment. They just want to be able to watch them. That's it. Maddie, did you like that Tua was grabbed by the Falcons in free agency? Man, we just like our injury-prone quarterbacks. I swear. I like Tua. I think he's good, but, like, this guy got battered. And, like, just kept getting thrown out there. I don't know. A lot of the Falcon staff choices have been like very, very questionable to me. Those games are neat, I guess. Yeah, I've played Uncharted 1 and 2. I like them. But I have a close friend who, like think of prime Matty Bethesda days where I swore by them no matter what. He swears by Naughty Dog no matter what. And like I owe it to him to play these games, so I will eventually do that. And he wants to watch me play them. Kyler pickup for the Vikings was good. I agree, Picto. Yeah, like that's gonna be sneaky good, I think. Oh, I love this type of comment. This is great. I don't agree with everything, but I appreciate your take on everything gaming. You always give me information I need to know. Yeah, that's why okay, so some people have said this to me, and I'm glad that they say this because it reaffirms sometimes this feeling I get where sometimes I spend like 10 minutes reading information in my video, and I'm like, is this okay? Are people here strictly for my take? And some people are, but I try to save it for like whenever it's kind of the back half or the second half. I don't try to intersperse it too heavily. I did for my recent Xbox video. That worked out well. I like to break it up with little conversations, but I don't know. I'm glad to see this because I try to make sure that you guys get what you need if you don't give a fuck about me. Because I think that's also important. I try not to make it about me totally. So thank you for this. I appreciate it. And that friend is Colin. That friend is not Colin, but Colin is one of those people who I know swears by like Uncharted and whatnot. I didn't see that happen with the Ravens, Justin. I've been in baseball mode, as you can probably tell. I've been in baseball mode. World Baseball Classic has been sick. Actually, I think the game's on at 9 tonight. Where's my Fox app? Is it on Fox? Or is it FS1? No, did they move it? Hang on, sorry guys. Let me refresh my ESPN. Oh, no, it says it's on Fox at 8. Oh, it's on an hour. Ooh, bro, let's go. Yeah, hold on, wait. Watch. playing the Big East tournament. It's like, ooh, I don't watch fucking college basketball that often. Do they have... Hold on. Okay, I got the Dominican Republic up on my phone right now. I can't show you guys, but like... Yeah, I've been in baseball mode. So I haven't really paid close attention to like the off-season for... whoops, I accidentally zoomed in. I haven't paid close attention to the off-season for football as much outside of the Falcons. How's the new strike zone machine working out? It's interesting to see like players are just hard exposing the shittiest umps in the game. So they're just immediately like head tapping and getting like 3 calls in a row overturned. Yeah, it's good stuff. Love baseball, dude. I cannot wait for the season to start. Favorite DBZ arc, Mark? I gotta give it to the Android arc. That's my favorite. I love the Android arc. Just so good. Like a true sense of loss. I love the androids. They're my favorite characters. I like the way they logically become allies. I like that they're not too OP. I love how recurring they are as well. Like there's just so much. I love the androids. And I love that they haven't... they kind of did bring back Cell at Cell Max. That was kind of cheap. But like, I love that Cell is not brought back in the way Frieza constantly is. Picto's all in on hockey. I would be too, dude, but I'm a Rangers fan. So, yeah. They're bad. And we're so fucking bad. We're bottom 5 in the league, and we didn't sell. We're retooling. Terrible. Ay. How about your Fallout and a Mets fan? How do you think the Mets will do this coming year? I want to be optimistic about the Mets. I'm not optimistic about the pitching. I'm just not. The hitting, I'm a little more optimistic about. I could see us being a strong lineup, but I'm just not optimistic about the hitting. I want to be, but I'm not. Sorry. Seeing some Evil Within love in chat. It's good shit. This is for Gohan. Oh, hell yeah, Mark. I love that. Thank you, dude. Oh, Tyler Wood in chat. Let's go. Yeah, man, I appreciate y'all showing up. This has been a really fun Friday stream. I feel like we've kind of found our pocket, found our groove, found out what kind of makes these streams explosive. Like, I've realized the viewership isn't like super strong on the streams. The viewership is really good on the Matty Slop stuff. So I imagine with Matty Slop, some people are like, I'm not going to watch the streams, but I appreciate those who come and hang out. I was talking to a friend about it on like how I can make it more rewarding for when people show up live and come to hang. And so that's why I wanted to focus more on just like chatting. I think that was pretty important. But yeah, I'm really thankful for you guys being here, dude. Cool to hang out. I think I'm going to get on out of here, though, because it's 7:13, and I want to watch the World Baseball Classic in an hour. I want to have some din-din with my wife. We're going to have some pasta tonight. I love pasta. Y'all don't know this, but I'm an Italian food fiend. Next week will be a very busy week. We're probably going to have 3 streams, I imagine, because we're going to do our usual news streams, both of them. But then I want to stream... I want to do, when I say a marathon stream, I don't know how long I'll go for, but I do want to stream a few hours of Crimson Desert when it unlocks. I want to be live for that. So that'll be fun. But we'll be live a few times next week. We got a lot of big level content coming out next week. So we'll be very busy. Over the weekend, we have a sponsored video coming out. So stay tuned on that. I think it's a game that'll be up your guys' alley. I try to pick very carefully with that stuff. Otherwise, Retro Rebound will continue on unimpeded. And other than that, have a great rest of your weekend, guys. Thanks for being here. And we'll catch up soon. Keep slopping on, all right?